get it right one day. Hey, remember how many times you used to do the messages for your voicemail? It goes something like this. What's going on, everyone? Thanks for locking into another episode of I'll Piss You Off Shortly. This is the podcast where we debate everyday issues, pushing your thought process beyond what's normal. The topics discussed here are meant to be intense, promote growth, and at times may have you feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Me too, a little bit. We may not always agree, and we will more than likely have varied opinions. But with that being said, I can't promise to be your favorite podcaster. Neither do I want to. But I can promise to be transparent, fair, and open-minded. So please, if you think you've got the stamina, passion to debate, analyze, and challenge the normal, please take a number. I promise you, I'll piss you off shortly. Hey, mama, I got a podcast. Hey, I got a podcast. Hey, I got a podcast.
What up, what up, what up, what up? For all those that are listening to the audio, we're listening to the audio of Trey Songz choking out a Kansas City police officer. It's fairly interesting. Like, he's so smug too. Like, he like, if you see Trey Songz's face, he's like, yeah, I got him. Like, we're good. Like, you. And so apparently it was told that somebody wasn't following COVID related protocols, blah, blah, blah. But the statement did not identify the man as Trey Songz. So apparently this cop decided to come harass him because he fit the description or fit a specific description, and then put his hands on him, which I believe, allegedly, right? Put his hands on Trey Songz, and then Trey Songz decided to take actions and put that little motherfucker in the headlock. I'm not even mad at it. I find it fucking hilarious. And it's crazy because, you know what I'm saying? Like, that they're arresting him, and then what did they charge him for? They charged him, I believe, with trespassing.
Wait, trespassing at a place he bought a ticket for?
Mm-hmm. Let's hear. Arrest not following corona. Oh, officers during his arrest for not following coronavirus protocols and other rules at the AFC game.
So he's not wearing a mask and not social distancing? Is that?
It seemed like he was by himself, and he did have a mask. His mask. I guess he took his mask off when he started yelling at the cop or whatever, or like arguing with the cop. But he did have a mask. It was all his live feed showed him wearing a mask and stuff like that. And actually, through the accounts of witnesses, they said the officer was completely in the wrong. And if you listen to this video, one of the guys says, "Arrest the cop." Like, the cop, he's yelling, the cop was wrong, arrest the cop. So, but they arrested him. He's out. He's home. Yeah. So I'm not even mad at it. I thought it was I was pleasantly surprised, and I'm a Trey Songz fan. Like, I'm an R&B head, and like Trey Songz is like, you know what I mean, one of the homies to me in my head. So it's just like, hey, I'm always right for Trey, especially with he's been super, super heavy into the like the social injustice, especially during all the riots and stuff like that. Very, very active. So I would be one to believe that Trey Songz would not instigate something with the cops, but at the same time, I do believe that Trey Songz ain't taking shit from the cops.
Boy.
What's up?
More action here than at the Capitol. Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
That's,
and I was
again, it's and I think, boy, I'm telling you, I think if you're a white person and you're trying to make excuses for this kind of stuff, again, I just spent an hour on Divide We Stand talking about this. Like, you're not living in reality. This is why Black Lives Matter is a thing, because this is the kind of crap that happens constantly. I mean, for anybody, I know this is Rob's favorite site on Instagram, but Karen's Gone Wild
every day.
This blows my mind. I mean, there's more new uploads on that channel than there is on like Pornhub.
Facts.
I find that like fascinating. Like, every day there's all these new videos of white people just randomly going after people of color. Where they get the gumption, I do not know.
I mean, a lot of, and that's what this episode is going to be about, episode 27. And by the way, I apologize. What's up, everybody? Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of I'll Piss You Off Shortly. I am Rob Benjamin, and we have Joe Guire on the other end of the mic. So I appreciate you guys for listening every Monday night. How are you guys doing? So yeah, today's going to be talking heavily about Let's Talk Color. So like, let me put a precursor out here. If you're sensitive, if you're not ready to have a true discussion, if you are of the belief, I mean, matter of fact, if you don't agree with certain things with like race and everything like that, like stay here. But if you're going to be sensitive, if you're going to not want to have a true discussion, today's not your episode. All right. So like, if you're going to have sensitive ears, if color and like racism, colorism is something that you're not going to be willing to hear about and discuss, this isn't your episode, because this is what pretty much all this episode is going to be about. And that's black and white. By the way,
if you're an all lives matter kind of person, you're going to be in for a rude awakening tonight.
Definitely be pissed off shortly. So let's just keep that in mind, right? But and that's so true. Isaiah made it. You and Isaiah make great points, right? That was to me, it was a one-on-one. The officer was getting his fucking ass beat, and even the other officers was like, "Hey, he was." You know what I'm saying? But then after that, like, it doesn't take that many to arrest Trey Songz. And honestly, I'm pretty sure, like, and that's another thing. Cops, like, in certain situations like that, you don't always have to be aggressive. Like, you really don't have to be aggressive, right? So, like, let's see here. Oh, stop. Pornhub, it's 2:21. You watch with your ex-classmates on OnlyFans now. Yo, I'm telling you, y'all still on Pornhub? Like, it's X videos all day. You got to get off of Pornhub. Pornhub's like, or maybe I just like went through every video on Pornhub throughout my lifetime, and now I just find X videos a little bit more entertaining. But anyways, enough with the porn talk. Back to social injustice. Look at the range. Look at the range.
Back to social justice.
But no, for real though, right? It's just like it's crazy. And I'm not even making this a black and white thing. It's just like poor policing. Especially when in the whole thing they say he didn't even fit this description. So here we go. Once again, black guy looking good. And you guys are just attacking him. So it is what it is. It's fucking sad.
The problem with fitting the description is if the description begins with black guy 5, that's it. That's as far as they get. There he is!
Every black guy runs.
Something and he's black. Fits the description.
And guess what? The person could be 6'2" and they're still gonna get him. He's black. He's black. You never know. You know, from distance, he could have looked further away. He's black. We got him. But anyways, before we get into like the heavy discussion, we'll keep it nice and sweet. The Super Bowl is coming around, and the Chiefs and the Bucks have made it. What do you think, Joe? Tom Brady the GOAT or what?
Yeah, I said about 2 weeks ago as this thing started happening, I said, there's no way I'm not gonna bet against Tom Brady. That would be stupid.
Foolish.
I've learned my lesson over the years in doing that. I did think that the Bills would be able to beat the Chiefs, so I was surprised by that, but will say I was concerned that before yesterday, Pat Mahomes hadn't had a 300-yard game since December 13th. And I thought, the offense doesn't look good. But I did say they played a lot of close games at the end of the year. I like that. I thought that kind of would help because I thought this was going to be a close game. It wasn't.
Nah. Hey, I thought it was going to, too. I really wanted the Bills to give them something. When it first started, I saw like a close score when it was like 14-9 or whatever before they went up. And I was like, all right, Bills, we're looking good. And then, nope, Pat Mahomes decided to just show out.
So, Isaiah Groves, who I know is watching, now I'm leaving. Fuck Brady. He gets so. I love Isaiah. He's a Giants fan like me. He's got this weird, like, Brady's overrated. He sucks. And it's like, no, I mean, come on, stop that now.
Exactly.
I understand all of the hatred for Tom Brady. He deserves all of it. He's brought it all on himself. All right.
Now, as far as what, just playing the game or like personal shit?
just everything. He's
Everything.
a douchebag. The fact that he looks like Matt Damon. The fact that he left Bridget Moynihan for Giselle. The fact
he
that
keeps up where he's winning.
He's
winning.
Flat balls. The all the cheating shit that they did. There's so much to not like. But Rob, you're a Steelers fan. You fucking must hate his guts too. I'm just saying.
I did.
For years watching the guy, I'm like, he's been in 10 Super Bowls now.
You can't beat that.
If the argument was Joe Montana with 4 and Bradshaw with 4, how in God's good name at 10 he's doubled them and then some? How do we still? You better hope that Mahomes wins about 10 of them or forget about it.
Oh my, it's over. It's a wrap. And I'm more sad because Ben wasn't able to get the 7th, and he was supposed to get the 7th before Brady, and Brady literally just said, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna go ahead and get." Now he hasn't won it yet. And we'll get to our predictions in a second. But if he does get it, and even then, like, he did it without Belichick, and that was everybody's biggest thing. Oh, he's with Belichick. Without Belichick, he won't be able to do it. Tables have turned. Belichick's up there in fucking New England, fucking struggling, and here goes the tag team back again, fucking Gronk and Brady, bringing them to a fucking Super Bowl.
I don't want to get off topic here, but because it says Tom Brady the GOAT, which he certainly is, and I think anybody who saw the game, that defense is tremendous. They have a really great defense, and that defense certainly did save him.
Mm-hmm.
That said, if you've been watching the Bucks, they lost to the Chiefs. They fell to 7-5. They haven't lost a game since. So if you're paying attention, you would know how good the Bucks are. I knew the Bucks were gonna. I said to my brother yesterday, I'm like, Aaron Rodgers has been begging to get one of these conference championship games at Lambeau, and he finally got it. And he got it, of course, against the greatest fucking quarterback that ever lived in Tom Brady. Be careful what you wish for.
Exactly. Especially playoff Brady.
All year they've been telling you Aaron Rodgers was the MVP of the NFL, and everybody just believed it. And so he's going all the way. It's blah, blah. ESPN said so. ESPN also said that Conor McGregor was going to knock out Dustin Poirier. Now, Rob, so I do a show, an MMA show.
Mm-hmm.
And I researched.
Jabs.
Yeah, thank you. Throwing jabs Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. I went and I basically went back from the fight that they had. What have they been up to since? Well, since 2016, Conor McGregor has fought 2 MMA fights. He lost to Khabib Nurmagomedov, and he beat Cowboy Cerrone in 40 seconds. That is it since 2016.
So what is he doing?
Justin Poirier, on the other hand, was 7-1, having beaten Justin Gaethje, and some of the biggest guys in the division. Okay, Eddie Alvarez, the list a mile long. Max Holloway, he's pounded the crap out of everybody. And he lost to Khabib as well. Okay. Just watching that. Okay. He also knocked out Justin Gaethje in the 4th round. Just to give you an idea that this guy can knock you out even late in the fight. He's got stamina and power. And Gaethje's one of the best in the world.
Okay.
So I knew, having watched that, I was like, dude, Conor's fought twice in 5 years.
And you think that he's going to be able to stand up to that?
Poirier fights all the time against the best, and he's been kicking their asses. But again, Rob, see, when you listen to the hype machine and you don't do the research, Conor McGregor's going to kick his ass. Really? How do you figure?
That's crazy.
He's fought 5 rounds in 5 years.
So the majority of people had Conor McGregor like winning. Like, I'm not a big fight person. I'm not like a big MMA person. Like, I used to watch like some of the fights, especially like when I was in the military. Everybody would like throw a fight party, and I would just to go party and shit. It never like I don't give a fuck. It never like intrigued me, honestly. I said the same thing. Conor took too much time off. You can't play.
Well,
fight.
it's funny. Right after the fight, Rob, you know what he blamed?
What's that?
Not having been out of the ring for too long.
Oh my god! Then you should have fought at that point.
Bro, right?
Fought.
Just exactly what I knew he was gonna bitch about going in, and it was this whole thing. He spent 10 weeks. He built a training camp, and I was like, 10 weeks in Portugal is not the answer to any question.
Closer to the fucking fight and train there and put more time and effort. I'm sure he knew more than 10 weeks before he was training. You got your fucking ass beat. Point blank period. You asleep like fucking Nate Robinson, and chilling like Bernie Sanders. Shut the fuck up. You suck. You suck. And yes, I'll say that, and I'm not going to fight him. No, I wouldn't fight Conor McGregor. I'll fucking blow his head off. You come around me with some roundhouse kicks and all that other shit, I'm not fighting you. Blowing your head off.
You cannot. I told my daughter this earlier today. My daughter's a really talented singer, and I don't think she practices enough.
Mm-hmm.
Tell her that all the time. I'm like, I know you're just going to show up on like performance day and you're going to kill it or whatever. You're not always going to be the best if that's your approach. There's going to be a day you're going to show up, you'll be a little bit off, and someone's going to blow you out of the water.
Facts.
If you don't practice, if you don't hone your craft,
you lose it.
You're not going to. You can't. For Conor McGregor to think he was going to step into a ring with the best in the world, which Dustin Poirier is, with Khabib having retired. Bro, I knew he was going to get blown out. I said he was going to get blown out. I said it.
I'd say I agree. It's just like, I mean, shit. Just when everybody's like, well, not even. This is a horrible analogy, but like when everybody's like, oh, can Michael play? Whatchamajigget? LeBron? No. You know how long Michael's been out the fucking game? That's a whole nother thing. You know what I'm saying? It just with anybody. You step outside that ring and you don't hone your craft. Like, I used to be an ill ass fucking poet. I had lyrics for fucking days. Ask me to write something now. I'm trash. I'm fucking trash. There's so much, you know what I mean? So hey, hopefully
they asked Michael Jordan the other day if he thought the 98 Bulls could beat LeBron's Lakers.
It'd be close.
He said, yeah, by like 2 to 3 points. And they were like, why? And he said, because most of us are about 60 years old. I love Michael Jordan.
That's what made me think about it.
That's some shit talking right there, baby.
Honestly, I would think that out of everybody, I would probably say Rodman probably had it the most still out of all of them. Out of that team that they would put, I think Rodman still would have it the most out of them. You don't practice, you lose it. Sorry, brother. So, but yeah, so that's our little, didn't want to make this like a whole sports thing. CMG has so many sports podcasts you can attend to. So make sure you guys follow CMG, Clovercrest Media Group.com, and see what sports podcast if you want that sports action. Like, oh shit. Excuse me, I just fucked my computer up. Anyways, I thought I lost you guys for a second. Just like go ahead, Joe.
I am going to take the Bucks up, by the way, the Super Bowl. I don't know.
You're taking the Bucks?
I love Patty Mahomes. I don't know. Just the fact that this idiot's playing in his home park and all that, like Brady's charmed life. Of course he's going to win the friggin' game. Of course he's gonna.
Question. Now, here's my sports conspiracy theory, right? Just like, and rest in peace to Kobe. You know, it's been a year officially since Kobe's been gone. But in my sometimes conspiracy theory, I believe that like with the Lakers won this year. I don't think it was necessarily well, I think it might have been a little bit coincidence. I don't know. I could be wrong. I also foresee Brady winning. I take the Bucks too, because Brady winning at home with the Super Bowl at home, his last and possibly final. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it feels like a setup.
Exactly. That's where I'm going. It feels like a setup. And
I'm right to say that to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right in the setup.
Doesn't sit well with me at all.
Yeah, no, like, and that's where like I love sports. You know what I'm saying? But then again, I think that, and not saying like they played before anybody kills me, like, oh, you think they fixed the whole season? No, I don't believe they rigged the whole season, but I do believe that there are setups and there are rigs. If you believe that sports is 100% fucking legit, I got a beachfront property in Idaho also.
Well, do you remember 2 weeks ago the over under on the Ravens Bills game was 50? And I said, get the fuck out of here. They'll score 50 in the first half. Well, they didn't even get near 50 in that game. You're telling me Las Vegas didn't have some insider knowledge that was going to be like they were going to score 23 points combined?
It's just like the market, watching fucking CNBC and then fucking hearing the stock's going up. Well, guess what? If you're fucking buying into that stock while it's going up now, you're fucking too late, buddy. It's the same thing. Like I put this in NFL Post Boys is his last shit.
Dude, he hates Tom Brady. Like I'm telling you,
he's a Jets fan.
Natural
Jets
about
fan,
that.
Yeah. As a Jets fan, I understand. But even not a Giants fan. But even then, like y'all beat them both times, so why be mad?
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
It goes beyond that for Isaiah. There's something there. It's all bullshit. The Bills and the Dolphins and the Jets were so bad. It was like 6 easy wins. He's got I'm telling you, at Isaiah's house, there's a picture of Tom Brady and there's strings. And there's a whole lot of reasons why Isaiah hates his guts. And I would say this, Isaiah, you're not wrong on any one of them.
No, I agree.
All legit.
I hate Brady. Well, I'm not going to say I hate Brady. I dislike Brady for the longest. I have accepted him now recently as the GOAT in the past like 2-3 years. No, past 2 years. No, I lied. I think last Super Bowl that he won when he brought, I said, yeah. Frank, yes, I got it for you for the low. All it's going to cost you is buying some merch. Matter of fact, if you buy some merch, anybody that buys merch, I will send you a whole square acre of property from Ireland. How about that? A whole square acre of Ireland, and then you can be a lord or a lady. I saw that on a commercial, and then I looked it up, and it's not that bad. So yeah.
Do you get the property? Is that a thing?
No,
a real thing.
What I think it is it's like a big old piece of land that somebody owns.
And then they just paying on it.
And you're just like, hey, I want to. You know how dumb Americans are, right? They just want a title. I want to be a lord. I want to be a lady, official. So they send you a certificate that says, oh, you're property owner in Ireland or whatever, fucking in Ireland or whatever country, right? And it's a square foot. And then what they do is they plant a tree in your name and you own that square foot of land, but it's already owned by whatever, you know what I mean? So you just pretty much bought a little plot just to plant a tree. And then they send you a piece of paper that says, hey, I'm from Ireland. We're going to call you a lord and lady. You're an official lord and lady. And then Americans look there and they're, I'm a lord and lady of Ireland. I own some property.
I'm just curious. I'm sure you don't want to spend any more time on this, but now you have to. Could I conceivably go there and live on my plot?
I don't know how big. Well, you're the real estate guy. How big is a square foot?
It's not
my
big.
Tiny house.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. You might not be able to like cook and clean or anything or move, but yeah.
I'd like to build a small tree and then build a tree fort on top of it.
Ooh, there you go. You got the airspace. Oh, I wonder how high the airspace goes. There you go.
Yeah. Well, I could tell you as a real estate agent that you own all the way up.
All the way up?
That's why you have, that's why drones can't fly over your house.
Oh.
They're invading your privacy space over your house.
So what about when the plane, they didn't, like when airplanes, they fly over my house, which would be like, I see the underbelly sometimes, especially where I'm at. Where my town is at, like it goes right by the airport, right? Well, and right in that line of sight. So like they're in my airspace. I should get a fee. They should be paying me.
I think the projection looks like they're in your airspace, but they are not.
They're not. But you said all the way up though.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah.
That they're not.
But you're talking about once you get straight, you run into that situation where everything's curved.
Oh yeah, because the earth isn't flat. That's right.
So yeah, it's hard to you're projected off. So
okay.
It's a loophole. It's a loophole situation. Right. But literally, like they're not supposed to fly drones over your home. Like you can call the cops and be like,
so can I like
stop?
Can I like fly them around? Not
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know. All right. See, we learned something. Look at the freaking range, and I'll piss you off shortly.
You could go up and down a street all day long.
I had it. You know what? Oh, I'm not gonna say.
You just can't fly into somebody's backyard.
Allegedly, I had a drone. and alleged, or maybe not. I don't know. I don't know how to say my. Anyways, fuck it. I'm glad I know that now, and I'm glad my drone is broken because my drone was definitely getting a lot of hours just flying around my neighborhood. So yeah, I guess I'll keep that in mind next time. I should probably read my pamphlet, read those pamphlets that have all the rules and shit before I start flying drones around next
those
time.
rules are very important, actually.
You just get your stuff, you charge it up, you just see the basics of like how to turn it on, and then you just throw it away. So if there's a drone over my house, can I shoot at it? No.
Frank, I cannot speak for Florida law, but I do know in some places, if a drone is over your house, that you can shoot it.
Well, I doubt where I'm at because you can't even have an air rifle, like an airsoft gun where I'm at.
Believe me, I'm certain that it's not because there was a drone that used to fly near my house, and I did look up what it would take to blast that son of a bitch out of the sky and what kind of.
Oh, I can tell you. I'll tell you off air. I'll tell you after this. I'll tell you exactly what you need. And I may know a guy that has exactly what you need. I was thinking about something better, but hi. To each his own. But anyways, I wonder if they would have had. Oh, I wonder if. Well, two things, especially with drones, right? It could have been beneficial. Like, I wonder how, like, since they couldn't send like people to, or like National Guard and all that people to go save the Capitol, like they should have just sent like a drone and just like took all those like pictures. Oh, so there's a movie on Netflix, and I know I'm going everywhere, but he's like, it's a new movie. It's called like Out the Gate or something. It's with two black dudes. Excuse me for not knowing their names. One of the dude, he was the Falcon, I think, in Avengers. Anyways, but he's like a bionic fucking person or whatever the case may be. Fuck, where was I going with this, Joe? What were we just talking about? Not the
Falcon.
Oh, okay, yeah. No. I said Netflix before Netflix. Where was I going with this? Where was I? Oh, drones. So they have in the movie, like drones is a big part of the movie. And like the drone intelligence, and even what I remember from my drone experience in the military, right? You can really like see and detect some shit, like zoom in. I wish I would have had like drones out during the Capitol riots. You know what I'm saying? That would have been easy. That would have been easier, especially like just do like flyovers and just and get rid of all those terrorists. That definitely
1,000,000%. I was waiting for that all day on the 6th. I was like, where are the drones?
Where are the drones? But I did hear that during inauguration, they did have drones. It wasn't like the small ones, but they actually had like military fucking UAV drones going around during the inauguration. So that's a good thing.
I did not know that.
Pretty interesting. And speaking of inauguration, how was like, I guess we'll start with, because that was last week, right? Last Wednesday, correct? Damn, we record and then like everything happens, it seems like. So we end up being like a week late. But anyways, the inauguration was last week. I think the best part of like the inauguration was the morning time when Trump was leaving. Like I literally stayed glued until Trump left. And I remember them being like, oh, he's running behind, and then you see all these files probably of like corrupt paperwork and like Louis Vuitton luggage and shit, getting ran out by assistants. And then here comes the fat man, the fat penguin. I can super be disrespectful to this bitch now. Here comes this fat bitch coming out with his horrible wife. And it was just amazing just to see, like, it felt like whenever you sage some shit and like bad spirits leave, like I know so many like White House like workers and shit and aides, like the actual I don't want to say the maids, but you know what I mean, the servers, the cooks, the workers, right? They're and I don't want to downplay their skill because they get paid a lot of money to do that shit anyways. But anyways, I know they were all relieved and like happy. They probably like threw their fucking, papers in the air and was like, hey, the fucking demon's gone. But what I loved about him leaving was he just looked so fucking miserable. Like even when he tried to give his speech, you could tell like he was just the biggest loser. Like literally, you are the biggest loser, bro. And like Melania looked like horrible. She looked like death. So yeah, it was a beautiful sight. And then when they got to the air base, right, and like both Eric and Junior were fucking crying in tears and shit. Like it wasn't like those are sad tears. Like those are like we know we're fucked tears. So like I was super super happy about seeing fucking Trump leave the White House and his fucking croons.
Well, and there's really good news, by the way, for anybody who hates this guy's guts. And that is now that he's no longer the president, I'm suddenly and I don't mean this in a controversial way, but I don't want to see the impeachment continue. It's completely unnecessary at this point.
I don't think he would ever be able, like, even let's face it, this fucker's 70-something years old. 4 years from now, he's done. Like he's literally shot himself in the foot that he can never come back. Even if he had a rise, the only way I could foresee him coming back to run and it actually be successful is if the fucking Dems literally we end up losing the country to Russia.
I'm telling you right now, you're in good shape because he's screwed as soon as he's out of office. And the whole reason he tried to cling the power so desperately was because once he leaves office, dude, he's in trouble.
Fish out of water, bro.
So I don't know what he's gonna do then, but he's definitely in trouble. And he knows that, and that's why he was so desperate to not leave office. There's a lot of people that want to talk to the president.
Yeah, like Carlos from Speaking It Real on Fridays. Put that dumbass comment up there. I know that's why we're live on Fridays. Y'all are live on Fridays. You're live on Fridays, Carlos. You're right. Speaking It Real is live on Fridays. And if you guys want to hear anything about any like slow conservative speak, definitely listen to Speaking It Real on Fridays, where you can listen to Carlos speak nothing but lies and unappreciative unfacts. Okay. Frank. Oh, that's Frank. Oh, okay. Frank, watch yourself, Frank.
Yeah,
I'm coming for y'all. I'm coming for y'all.
Frank's solid.
Frank's solid. Oh yeah, Frank's solid. But when you know what, I can't even say that because Frank be holding them accountable. I thought that was Carlos for a second. But yeah, make sure you guys listen to Speaking It Real on Fridays. I know that was kind of like an outburst. I've been ready to get at Carlos for a minute, so I jumped the gun. I'm not apologizing though, because everything I said was facts still.
I love it. There's no reason to apologize. And I'll say this about Carlos. And I enjoy debating him. He's a reasonable guy. And no, I'm serious. Rob,
he's reasonable.
I have a feeling that he knows he's full of shit.
And he just plays
like, yeah. He's way too smart of a guy in the conversations I've had with him for me to think that he believes any of the horse shit that he's saying. I'm at the point where I don't buy it. Dude, he posts articles from like the Babylon Bee or some horse shit. It's a satire site. And I said to him today, I was like, Carlos, don't you have time to? Why don't you take the time to like fucking listen to a Biden speech, and then you'll know what's really happening. I mean, if you've got the time to deep dive into like shitty satire articles, they're asking all these softball questions. The reason why the media has not attacked Joe Biden yet is he hasn't been an asshole yet.
And he speaks in full sentences, and he actually makes sense when he speaks. Whether or not you agree with it or disagree with it, he actually makes sense, though. Like, it's not just some dumb shit. It's either some shit that you're like, okay, yeah, I agree with it, or I don't. Not like, this is completely fucked up, and what are you talking about?
Well, so now one of the big Republican talking points right now is, and this is Rich, you're going to love this, that they're trying to pass Democratic policies. That's the argument right now. And Rob, what's a Democratic policy?
I don't know.
Right. A Democratic policy is getting COVID vaccines to people and getting COVID relief to people. Is that a Democratic issue?
They're just like, no.
What are you imbeciles talking about?
If anything, we followed the Republican. If they want to play that game, we followed the Republican Party and policy, and look what the fuck it landed us. Over 400,000 dead.
Right. Epically blown on
So
their
yeah,
part.
you're right. They're deploying the policy, the right policy that actually makes sense, that actually has a policy, that actually has a plan, an effective plan, and not just some bullshit of a bunch of 1,000 pages of blank pages.
Right.
Let's not forget that bullshit. So like, yeah, these idiots. It's
Look,
literally like. Go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say, look, if Joe Biden decides that instead of giving the American people another $1,400 apiece, if he decides all of that money is going to transgendered prisoners for operations, yes, I'll be pissed. I'll say, all right, liberals, that's a little too far. But right now, the guy wants to put money in your pocket.
And honestly, I don't give a fuck. So what if he doesn't end up with fucking 2,000?
And I would have welcomed Donald Trump doing the same fucking thing, though. I would have been like, dude, yes, get me a vaccine, put some money in my pocket, bro.
And let's call it a day.
We would have been good, but
don't give us a hard time. Don't do anything.
Didn't want to do that.
And everybody's like, oh, well, where's my money? Where's my money? Motherfuckers, y'all wasn't saying that shit with fucking Trump. When he literally held funds and had the motherfuckers, him and bitch McConnell fucking held funds until the end, and then he tried to play tough guy with bitch McConnell, like give him the $2,000. Fuck out of here. If it wasn't for if it wasn't for him knowing that he fucking lost, he wouldn't have did that. So like, come on. If he would have won the election, y'all wouldn't have seen that fucking 600.
Yeah.
Let's keep it a buck. Y'all wouldn't have seen that 600. It would have been like, no, we're good. You guys don't need it. The only reason why he upped to $2,000 and tried to get bitch McConnell to give $2,000, and I'm talking about Trumpito, that orange bitch motherfucker, is that he was trying to save face, and it's too late. Too late, bitch. You can't save face. So guess what? Everybody, all these Republicans that are fucking bitching and complaining about where's my money, where was that energy when fucking Trump was in office? Where's my money energy? Don't worry. Forget it, though. You guys did. At the beginning, when everybody was getting money, you guys were like, oh, all these liberals are taking all the fucking money. We don't need to give them fucking money. Why do they need all this extra money? But look at you. Now that the Democrats in office, you guys want to have something to bitch about. Now you guys, where's my money? I need my money now. The fuck is wrong with y'all? Y'all are fucking idiots.
Again, I try to be consistent and fair in my complaints. And again, for months, I said, Rob, right? This guy could be a fucking hero. Step up. Take care of the American people. And he didn't. And instead, what he did was he convinced 74 million morons that you don't need it. That the fact that, I mean, look, here's where we're at. Most countries are supplementing their citizens at about 80% of their salary.
Say that again, Joe.
Most of the other countries, especially the democratic socialist countries of Norway and that we fucking hate so much, are supplementing their citizens 80% of their income.
How much are we getting supplemented?
Well, peanuts.
Peanuts.
And
you know what's funny? I hear everybody talking about, well, if you're so mad, move to Canada where they'll tax the shit out of you. Well, guess what? Because of their fucking taxes, they were good. Everybody was getting fucking paid in Canada every fucking month. So what the fuck are y'all complaining about? For real. And honestly, oh my, I hate these idiots. I hate these fucking morons.
There was nothing good happening in this country.
Nothing.
Again, you beat the drum about the stock market. What does the stock market have to do with anything?
The stock market is trash.
Other than how well corporations and people who are invested are doing.
So let's break this down, right? Because one of my investing mentors broke this down. The stock, if you look at all the history, right? If you look at the past 10 years, right? Or even if you look at the past since Obama or even Clinton, right? Every time a Dem's in the fucking office, the market's doing this. Guess what? When Trump came in, the market plundered and did a slow fucking creep and then dropped again. So no, it was good because these guys were getting so many fucking breaks that they were go ahead and buying their own shit. So they were taking their money and then just putting it back into the stock market. That's
all buybacks.
All buybacks. Yep. So it's just like, miss me with the fucking market doing good. When people buy stocks, when they buy back their stocks, that just means their company's gaining more value because there's less stocks for you idiots to fucking buy, you dummies. So
right. So again, but right. So Rob, what is a good measure of a successful economy? It's having low unemployment. Yeah, we had that. Were the jobs good paying? They weren't.
No, trash.
Salaries are stagnant. And then we closed down the entire economy and didn't take care of the citizens. And for some reason, the Republican Party, again, I for the life of me don't have an explanation for this. But knowing that there was a big election coming up and then a runoff right after that, didn't want to pass a stimulus package and take care of the American people. And again, for 74 million people to be okay with that, like what? Unless you're very fearful of what you think, and again, this was a brainwashing by Trump that some new socialistic society was going to come in and we'd all be in bread lines and having toilet paper thrown to us from a hanger or something. It's the whole thing is so ridiculous. It's not even worth entertaining anymore.
No. And honestly, I'm glad.
And it's sad that there's still people that are holding on to that. Now, again, I'd be happy to talk about Joe Biden's policies. He hasn't implemented any yet. Hasn't really done anything.
No. And honestly, everything that he's done, I have no gripes about. The 11 executive orders that he's placed in effect. I'm not going to sit there and say I looked over all the fucking things. But from what I've read and what I've seen, I'm not mad. I'm not fucking mad. He's literally, it seems like he's doing a self-correction right now.
Yes.
This country's in a self-correction right now. So let it happen. And I'm sorry, and if you guys are still, I heard somebody today, oh, he's making everybody wear masks. We're so sick of not being able to breathe. Y'all are fucking pussies. Like if you want to not be able to breathe, go ahead and put on a fucking gas mask in the military for days on end. Days on end for no fucking reason during training, and then days on end while in country because there's a fucking NBC scare. So fuck out of here with a little fucking paper thin fucking mask. Stop being fucking pussies and just do what you're fucking told. That's it.
My friend Erica is a nurse and works in the COVID unit in Hartford and wears the whole get up like a breathing apparatus, because when they first did the whole thing where you put your N95 mask on, they were like, if you could taste it, then it means that
it's not sealed.
It's getting in, right? It's not sealed. So every day that Erica works for 13 hours on her shift, she looks like a space alien with like this contraption and like the
ET people when they came and got ET.
Yes, that's what she looks like for 13 hours taking care of people in the COVID unit.
But y'all are worried about fucking putting on a mask while you go shopping, enjoying luxuries that America has been able to enjoy throughout this whole pandemic. So what the fuck are you like? Y'all are punks, y'all are pussies, and y'all are cowards, and y'all are morons. Anything else like that just keep aligning you guys with this dumb shit, I'm just gonna keep calling it out. Fuck.
The day murder and mask wearing became partisan issues was where, to me, the Republican Party, like, dude, what is left? What depths are you not willing to sink to? You'll do the bidding of the Russians.
Yeah.
Come on, to what depths is the Republican Party willing to sink to, and have people still defend it? That's the part. Again, I'm still a Republican, still registered Republican. I vote Democrat though, so I want them to see it. I want them to see that, like I said earlier tonight, Rob, on the other show on Divided We Stand. If I'm the only Republican in town that's voting Democrat, I want who the fuck who's doing this? How is that? I want them to know that I want the party to stop sucking, to stop being so fucking racist. That it's time to let go of the white nationalists. Tell them to fucking go form their own shit. And if that means losing some elections, so be it.
So be it.
But
I'd be way more interested in the Republican Party if they got rid of the racism.
yeah, I'm not going to join a party that's supported by Nazis and neo-Nazis and white supremacists. I don't want to be associated with that.
And that's where
and I know the counter is going to be, what about Antifa? Well, Antifa and BLM marched against the Democratic Party the other day.
Yeah, I was just yep.
I mean,
no, it wasn't BLM. It was straight Antifa. It wasn't. Let's not. It wasn't Antifa.
Well, I'm going by what the right wing media said. It was the BLM Antifa.
Well, we're not gonna.
They're forever connected now. They're the same group.
We're not pushing that dumbass agenda on this fucking platform. It was Antifa. It wasn't BLM. So these morons can shut the fuck up.
Right. So Antifa was protesting Joe Biden and the Democrats,
which
specifically.
From what I read, which is dumb as fuck, and I put it up there. I had it up there like I think I put a status about it or whatever. But they need to be locked the fuck up and or beat the fuck, like whatever the case. They need to be taken care of too. Let's put it that way. And I don't know. And my biggest I lied. I have one gripe with fucking Biden. And I don't know if this is pertaining to him, but he's a fucking president of the United States. So Antifa.com directs to the White House website. It used to direct to Joe Biden. I don't know if it's a White House website now, but it directs to President Joe Biden. And that is something that I do not agree with at all. Antifa.com, and it goes right to the White House.
Well, that's interesting.
And the reason why I say that is because that is, even if it's a belief group or whatever the fuck Antifa is, and honestly, let's be real, Antifa looks like a bunch of suburban white people that are looking for a reason to like overexert themselves, that have just been super liberal, like extreme liberal, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, from the pictures that I saw, right, it just looks that way. Now, did I see some black people in there too as well? Yes. But I'm not saying it was BLM, because there was no BLM propaganda. It was all Antifa shit. So now, with that being said, with Antifa being an organization, and now they have made a blatant act against you, that definitely should not be going to a government website. And that bothers me. Because one, that means that there's a whole nother, that there's a server connected to the government server for it to route that way. And you know what I'm saying? And that they don't have those kind of precautions. Now, that's if they don't know, but this has been going on for a while. So Biden, you're aware of this, and it has not changed, and there has not been anything addressed to it. There has not been anything changed to it. So yeah, I'm looking at this kind of weird. I'm looking at this funny. I'm waiting to see what fucking happens, and I want him to address this.
So we don't know who owns Antifa.com. It's a domain registration on record on whois.com shows it's registered through a third-party service. A Biden campaign official said during the election, when the URL was going to joebiden.com, that whoever owns Antifa.com is redirecting it to our website as a troll. There's no connection between Joe Biden and Antifa.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying
why Antifa is doing that. Nobody has any idea why they decided to do that.
Why is the government continuously letting it happen, though? It should not be able to. They have the capabilities of doing it.
They don't. I could redirect clovercrestmedia.com to go to whitehouse.gov if I wanted to. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't turn away the traffic. But
you don't believe they can't. They don't have a way to stop You honestly don't believe they don't have a way to stop that?
Well, now you're talking about some crazy big tech shit. Like, you want what, Zuckerberg or Google to like take shit down? They can't do anything about it. Any website can redirect its URL to any other website, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's no setting on your end to stop that from happening.
They have a website. They have a development team for a reason. They have nothing but smart coders, smart everything else to block.
But they're not doing anything illegal or wrong.
I know, but okay. So, all right, touche. So I'm just saying.
I know it aggravates people. It's a little unsettling. The Biden team doesn't know why they're doing it.
Imagine if the Proud Boys, if you typed in the Proud Boys and it went to Donald Trump, and this is just me playing devil's advocate, there would be a mass hysteria for them to fucking fix that, right? Am I lying?
But there's a connection between the Proud Boys and Donald Trump. There's not a connection between Joe Biden and Antifa.
Very true.
Despite the fact people want there to be, there just isn't.
But even then,
at least not one that we're aware of.
Any group. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if there was a hate group that went to...
Well, is Antifa a hate group?
I don't know.
Apparently not even a group, according to the FBI.
I don't know. Yeah, according to the FBI, they're not a group. They're an adverb, or adjective, and they have no organization. It just seems like a bunch of people. And that was the other thing. They were like, Antifa was in Houston and Seattle. No, it was fucking Portland. A couple people tried to do whatever, and it was less than like the crowd than when we went to the state capitol, right? So yeah, Portland was the main place. So it's just like there's no organization, there's no authorized or not authorized, but there's no organization leader. There's nobody saying, "Hey, I'm running this" or "I'm in lead of this." Hell, even for the hacker fucking dude, whatever the hacker dude is, anonymous. We know that there's one person in charge of that, even though it's a conglomerate group, right? So we might not know who it is, but we know that there's a leader. We don't know that there's a leader of Antifa. I don't know who, what, when, where, how to even. If I wanted to join Antifa, I don't even know who to reach out to. And they're not that
secret. Join Antifa, I'll tell you how you do it. You just show up at the next event.
And it just fuck shit up.
And you're in.
And that's all you do. They're fucking shit up for black people. Like now they are, and honestly, this is my other conspiracy theory, right? What if Antifa is hyped to... No, I'm not gonna say that because I don't want to.
Oh, take a shot. Let me answer
I'll take a shot. Fuck it, right? What if Antifa, not gonna say like, what if Antifa and the hype around Antifa was like dead, and now you just have people that just are ready just to fuck shit up and like really just ruin the narrative for the black person.
So like anybody could dress up as Antifa
and then
just be like, I'm Antifa, bitch, and I hate this now.
Because it correlates to BLM. And so now that just kills like a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? So now you just blame everything on Antifa, and it really downplays and kills the whole, you know what I mean? It kind of puts salt on our fight.
So here's what people don't know about Antifa is they've been going at it for like 20 solid. They protest Democrats, they protest Republicans.
Yeah.
You know, you could say their ideology is left wing, but it's left wing to the point of like they don't believe in government, period. They're anarchists, and they consider any sort of government to be fascist because they're being told what to do. And it's again the term is anti-fascism.
Yeah.
So any laws or law that they're like libertarians on steroids.
Okay. So they're just like the MAGA.
Is really what they are. They're so far right that they actually fucking come back around the other side and they're on the left. And you're like, the left-wing group? No, they're so far right that they've actually fucking circled you once over.
So it's like if they go from Cali to Japan, but they cross New York first instead of
that's exactly what you're looking at here. Yeah, they're no more Democrats than they are Republicans. They hate the government. They, I would assume, and many of them have records, felonies, for their participation, which is one of the things about being an Antifa. And this is something I think a lot of black people can relate to. Once you're hit with a felony, your life's fucking over.
Unless you crowd the Capitol or storm the Capitol, and then you don't get a
if you have a felony conviction, you're gonna go to jail, and you're gonna do like 10 hard or 15 hard or 20 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can't vote. Now you have to list that you're a felon everywhere you go. You can't own a weapon. You can't get a fucking job.
And you're controlled by the government.
So now listen, you're 18, you're white, you're from the suburbs, you got fucking busted like throwing a Molotov cocktail at like a Republican, a Republican committee building or whatever have you, and you got hit with a felony and they gave you like, a year in jail, and they gave you time served for like the week that you spent in jail before your hearing. But you're a felon. What is your motivation to not just keep going back to Antifa and busting shit up? You got a felony. Your life, for all intents and purposes, any chance of success is out the fucking window.
Sounds so familiar.
So you're again, bro. This is the problem again, where I don't think people really understand the plight of black people. Is Yo, once you get that fucking felony, and if it's for some bullshit like selling weed, you're fucked. You can't vote. You can't own a gun legally. You can't get a job. You have to list it on your application. It really makes getting a job hard. That's why you end up working shit jobs. Shit jobs ends up leading to
Better
selling
make
drugs
better
again.
opportunities.
You were doing good selling the drugs. You'll take your shot, and then you're back in jail. Now it's your second strike. If you're in California, one more, and you get the death penalty. It is hard for a brother out there, and it's just for that reason. But once you get that first felony conviction, you're fucked.
So
and the Republicans know that.
Think about it. And it's crazy on both sides. Like, but it's such. So when you say the Republicans know that, are you saying that they're with it? Like, go ahead, keep going. Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, so
they strongly again the idea that you're going to keep weed, a Schedule I drug, on the same level as cocaine and heroin,
God,
and that you're going to continue to put, again, we know statistically, blacks and Hispanics are much more likely to get arrested for distribution and arrested, even though per capita, there's more white people slanging that dough. Straight up, you just don't get caught.
And even then,
like, in the suburbs, they don't do it at McDonald's.
When was the last time you heard of a weed epidemic? Like weed just killing people and ruining people's lives. And...
Well, do you remember when they made it legal in a couple of years ago in Denver, and like 2 days later, right-wing media was like 7 people OD'd on marijuana, and we found out that was clearly not fucking true. Again, it's their fear tactic.
But meanwhile,
same thing with the gateway. Yeah, it's a gateway drug.
No, not really. Not really. I'll be honest. I definitely started, my first drug was weed. And then umpteen years later, I tried 2 bumps, and that was the worst 15 minutes of my life. The worst. And it said, you know what? I'm sticking to green. I don't want anything else. So gateway drug, my ass. I think there's a lot more other things that open the gateways to heroin, opium.
I'm pretty sure the first time you stick a needle of any sort in your arm is your gateway to like Foxville.
Yeah, I mean, even that, like there's so many. Like, I honestly didn't know that there was anything other than weed until I went to Norwich Free Academy and I went to parties with these white boys, and these white boys had liquor, beer, and coke. I was like, what the fuck is this? Y'all are fucking crazy.
Without having
the craziest shit in the world.
Without having ever done any of these things, I think I would smoke crack before I injected heroin.
See,
the idea of sticking something into my veins, first of all, to get pleasure out of a needle,
like, well, I get pleasure out of a needle when I'm getting tattoos. Like, it's a soothing thing for me. But like, I'm not like sticking, and I'm sorry that's not for me. Like, as much as we talk about it, there are blacks and Hispanics that move up and forget where they come from. Oh man, we're talking about this later. We're talking about this later when it comes to colorism and racism. I promise you, we're gonna get to that soon, Ovi. But yeah, so we're talking about inauguration. Sitting back into that. The ceremony. The ceremony was cool. What do you think? Did you see Lady Gaga's big ass bird?
I gotta tell you, I felt like Bernie at that inauguration. I mean,
why am I here? What am I doing?
My wife was like, "This is historic," and I was like, "I don't really give a shit, honestly. If we're being honest,
it was only historic because of Kamala. That was it. That was
yes,
reason why it was historic. Outside of that, that was boring. I will say Michelle Obama looked amazing, looked phenomenal, looked the best out there. So as she should, coming, being the best forever first lady there is. But yeah, I watched a little bit. Well, I watched the whole. Well, listen, I guess, as I was washing dishes and shit. I love Bernie. Everybody loved Bernie. All these Bernie memes are fucking hilarious. And I love that Bernie was like so just casual, relaxed. Just like, hey, I'm just going to wear my little woodsy pants, my boots, and my mitts. Let's get this going and get me the hell out of here. What was that? Oh, he was on Hard Hitting.
Yeah, he did a really cool meme of Bernie on the show with them. It was really
I saw
funny.
that. I saw that.
Yeah, I don't, again, Jennifer Lopez.
Let's get loud. What'd you think about that?
Here's okay. Let me say this. First of all, I understood the symbolism behind having superstars perform because Donald Trump had I think the girl that came in third place on The Voice or whatever. And I think Three Doors Down played in the evening time, but there was no real musicians that came to play Trump's inauguration. So I got all that.
Can sing. Chrisette Michelle can sing her ass off.
I don't know who that is.
She was the black lady that the black artist that everybody gave shit for actually performing, and Trump paid her like $250. She was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna turn it down $250,000 to sing a couple songs."
Yeah,
which I wasn't mad at her about.
Well, I don't blame anybody that. I mean, if you're a musician, I'm sorry, there's musicians that take like $30 million and go play like private parties for Russian oligarchs.
Fast.
I mean, dude, if you're like Gavin DeGraw, you need the money.
You need the money. And that's how Chrisette Michelle needed the money. She definitely
you need the money. I get it. I mean, Garth Brooks performing. He was like, I just want everyone to know, like, this is not a partisan thing by any means. I played at everybody's shit. And I'm just playing this one. And then he hugged everybody on his way out the door. I thought that was kind of cool, and I liked it.
Good man.
Jennifer Lopez is not a good singer.
Correct.
So I didn't understand why she was singing. I would have liked to have seen her dance. If I got any pleasure out of J-Lo being there, I'll be honest with you.
If she danced.
I would have loved that, but that wasn't in the cards. But here's what I got out of that was Alex Rodriguez was standing there with Jennifer Lopez, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama, and like nobody gave a shit that A-Rod was in that group. There's not a lot of places where A-Rod shows up and nobody gives a shit that he's there. That was one of those days, and I thought, I wish I was in A-Rod's brain right now because he must have been so miserable.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
I'm sorry. Lady Gaga's got a great voice. I don't get the whole. I don't know what you're doing there.
I thought it was pretty interesting that her and Dr. Jill Biden had the Hunger Games pen on. So last gig ever. Hope it was worth it, Chrisette. See, Chrisette Michelle. See,
if you're willing to look, if you're willing to, this is what people have to understand. Oh, cancel culture. I don't want to do business with someone who I think is an asshole.
Facts. Joe, question.
Yes.
We get a phone call. Trump, in theory, Trump wins. Shits and giggles, Trump wins. And they say, you know what? We want the I'll Piss You Off Shortly podcast to do a live showing during the inauguration. We'll pay you $500K. So that's $250 each, Joe.
Yeah, I'd do it.
We doing it or not?
100%. Look, if Donald Trump
and I'm doing it my way.
Yeah, if Donald Trump launches a network and he wants to run this show on his network as the counterpoints to everything he's doing, I would happily take the job.
Definitely where the bag is.
Oh, yeah.
And I would definitely keep it the same way. Like he would, and that's the thing. Like, yeah, if you want me, and that's the thing. If you want me, that means, well, if you're asking me, that means you want me. There's something about me that you want, whether you like me or not, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna get the bag and I'm gonna do it my way, or I'm just gonna continuously doing it this way. Like it point blank period. Either it's gonna be all or nothing in my book.
Yeah. Well, Frank, there you go. You'd be a fool not to.
So?
I don't blame anybody, but you have to understand that all of your actions have repercussions. Again, I do a lot of sports stuff. I've done work for ESPN before. They're never going to hire me again for the shit that I do, politically speaking, and I don't fucking care. You know what I mean? I'm good. I like speaking my mind. No one's going to tell me what to say or what to think.
Why you think I haven't went back to my old job? And it was crazy. Okay.
$1,000,000%, dude. I'm too passionate about this shit. I care way too much to stop what I'm doing. I think what I'm doing is boring. It's funny. I did a post on Facebook, and there was a lot of my old high school friends and I, and one of them's this assistant mayor of the town we grew up in.
Nice.
And most of the people are pretty successful, and we were kind of all going back and forth talking shit about 3 of our lunatic classmates.
Oh, I saw that post. Yeah, that one.
Hardcore Trump supporters. And
I almost put them on, but I didn't.
Well, look, here's the thing. I mean, I feel bad that we're at a point where people are off the deep end. That, I mean, again, for anybody who supports the insurrectionist or doesn't immediately like that was fucked up. If you even bring up the summertime before you say that was fucked up what happened at our Capitol, I have zero respect for you.
Facts.
I have no respect for you at all.
Piece of shit.
You absolutely cannot. You can't. Well, what I don't give a shit about any of that. I mean, this is what I'm talking about.
Fights. 2 separate fights too. Like
absolutely 2 separate fights, and against two different institutions for very different reasons. I mean, just the idea that our inauguration had to be what it was. A, because of COVID, and B, because we had to worry about fucking lunatics showing up. What is happening?
The world's coming to an end.
Dude, I mean, this is not sustainable, what's happening right now. It just isn't sustainable. So how do you tell the other side, like, dude, fuck, and this is like been my mission of late.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like trying to talk to like people on that side, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you know me.
They're lost.
You know me. I've been in the media business for 3 years. I know how it works.
Yeah,
you have to source material.
But even then,
do research. You have to like cite sources. Even if I don't cite a source in the article, I have to tell my editor who the fuck it is.
Yeah.
It's just published blind. I need 2 sources. You need evidence and stats and facts I mean, again, if you knew anything about the process and what it takes to publish a story in media, the same people who don't understand how fucking science works are the same people who don't understand how the law works, are the same people who don't understand how media works.
Facts.
Look, if you work at fucking Macy's, you know retail. But shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And it's okay. And I think that's the other thing. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to be correct about everything. It's okay to sit there and say, I don't fucking know. Do the Fauci. I don't know. It's okay to say, I don't know. It's okay to not know. Like, everybody wants to be right. Everybody wants to be fucking correct. Like, if you're going to try and come correct, come fucking correct. Have your facts. Have some stats. Have some shit. And that's one of my biggest, like, pet peeves throughout all this shit, right? Especially this past week, in which I promise you we're going to get into a minute because we're already an hour in, and I don't want this to be a super long episode. But, like, having facts, you know what I'm saying? I've been talking about this all week, like, pet peeves with just in general, right? So one of my pet peeves, especially with these conservatives, is that they will say, like you said, they will literally go listen to Fox News, listen to whoever conspiracy theorist, and then literally, instead of processing what they hear, they literally just spew it out, don't understand it, and then of course it's just like telephone. What happens? They mix in their own shit here and there, or whatever their buddy says. So it turns into slight bullshit to even bigger bullshit. Or if you want to say the snowball effect, right? It starts from a small snowball and it just gets bigger and bigger, and then it finally shoots off, right? Off the cliff somewhere. And then another pet peeve of mine with them is just no accountability and no sense of like, I was wrong. I haven't yet to heard a conservative say they were wrong yet. Even though, right, through all of Obama, even through Trump, people on the left side have said that, or Democrats or whatever. Yeah, we were wrong about some things. Nobody on that side has fucking said anything. And that's the thing that pisses me off. Like, how can you actually fall and co-align or coincide with a party that doesn't even fucking have integrity or any kind of sense of morals? So,
well, right. when the Tea Party showed up and decided they were never going to compromise, even with other Republicans, on any of their stances. And the Tea Party people were like, yeah. It's like, come on, guys. What if the fucking liberals did that? What if the neoconservatives did that? What if the fuck is wrong with you? That is the opposite of productive. That's not what you want your representatives to do.
I feel like I'm talking to my 5-year-old now.
And again, if you do, then you're not a fucking real American. So fuck off.
Fact.
That's what I say. That you're not a real American because you don't know how this shit fucking works.
Well, there you have it, folks. There you have it. Well, I was gonna get a little bit deeper into pet peeves. I don't want to do that. I changed my mind because I know there's a lot of other things that, well, we have a couple things on this topic that I really want to get into. So we're going to get into Yep, That's Racist, which I realized that we haven't done like a Yep, That's Racist, I think in like 2 episodes, or like thoroughly. At least 2 episodes. We haven't really gotten into a full deep dive. So Yep, That's Racist comes from this week. Drum roll. That was horrible. From our lovely state of Connecticut.
A local story with some local news friends of mine.
Yeah, man. So recently in the news, the police chief of Naugatuck, Connecticut, his daughter, she was 13 at the time, so 2 years ago, decided to send some very racist, threatening, and endangering Facebook posts. Well, no, not I believe these were snaps.
Yeah.
Some things over social media, right? We'll go ahead and play that video.
Right now, some breaking news out of Naugatuck tonight, where several investigations are happening after racist and violent social media posts appeared that were allegedly written by the police chief's daughter. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Matthew Campbell spoke with officials and the teenager who had the messages.
Well, Mark, the messages you're about to see are racist and violent. The mayor says they were made 2 years ago and were brought to his attention today. Now, 3 investigations are underway tonight, and one of the first things they're going to try to determine is if the messages are truly the words of the police chief's teenage daughter. I'll make my dad drive with lights and sirens, and if we see any black people, we will shoot them. My dad is now officially police chief, so that means he's more advanced in shooting black people than he was a couple minutes ago. These are 2 of the 6 messages that popped up on social media this afternoon. Naugatuck's mayor confirms it contains images of Police Chief Stephen Hunt's daughter.
We condemn all acts of racism and bigotry in any form at all times.
Naugatuck Mayor Warren Hess, alongside the Police Commission Chairman Ralph Roper Jr. and the Deputy Police Chief Colin McAllister, announcing 3 investigations tonight, an independent one, an internal one, and one from the school department, because the chief's wife is the assistant principal at Naugatuck High.
The pictures and the statements were from about 2 years ago.
Many are wondering why the screenshots of these messages were unearthed now.
This is not something I'm doing out of spite, but something I'm doing out of care for the town of Naugatuck, because they should no longer be lied to.
16-year-old Jake Stankiewicz says the chief's daughter sent the messages to him privately 2 years ago when they used to be friends. We got the permission of his legal guardian before conducting this interview.
They were sent to me, and I had screenshotted them, and I was told to delete them, as I did, but they were backed into my iCloud where I discovered them yesterday.
We asked Stankiewicz why he waited 2 years to share this.
He sits in a very high position of power within the town, and it's hard to want to challenge that.
Stankiewicz says he was 13 at the time and Hunt was 14. He believes the chief's daughter sent it to him as a joke. He shares his goal behind exposing the alleged messages.
I just hope, people in positions of power are more accountable for their actions, and we can do something to combat the rampant racism everywhere.
We asked the mayor if the Hunts could be held responsible for their child's alleged actions.
But it's a very good question. The answer is to be determined.
In the joint statement made tonight, town officials did praise the characters of both Chief Hunt and his wife. The mayor confirms he spoke with the chief today.
It's obviously very disconcerting, and it's a family issue, and I'm sure they're home right now working on it.
Now, both Chief Hunt and his wife are still employees.
That ain't no
The mayor
fucking
says
family
they are
issue.
not
That's a
on
fucking
leave
local issue.
as these multiple investigations continue. Now, we looked for a comment from the Hunts tonight. They did not respond. We're here in Naugatuck tonight. Matthew Campbell, Channel 13 News.
So,
Yeesh.
I don't need, like, it's so hard to fucking unpack this thing. So let me just start with my opinions first. And first and foremost, I do believe that fucking child, that racist, that bigot, that fucking clown of a female. And I don't give a fuck that she's 15, because obviously she's racist and doesn't care about the health and welfare and the safety of black people. And if it was a joke, she got that nasty fucking joke from somebody in her disgusting ass family, right? And yeah, I know that since then the parents have sent out this bullshit apology saying that, you know, that they don't condone that, and that's something that they don't agree with, and they don't to speak that kind of language in their fucking house. And I see all these fucking dumbass and conservatives and people that just want to play the safety game and, oh, she was just a kid. No, guess what? At 13, I knew right from wrong. I knew that I couldn't go around calling white kids fucking crackers, because that would have some repercussions, right? Because it was wrong, first and foremost, right? And white kids knew that they just couldn't go around calling me fucking nigger, right? Because it was an issue. We know the difference between fucking right and wrong at the age of 13 and 14. So for them to be like, oh, well, she was young, that's a fucking bullshit excuse. That fucking racist needs to be expelled and removed from the Naugatuck fucking public school system. Her mother needs to be removed as a fucking assistant superintendent, and her father needs to be removed from fucking police chief. Because, and the reason why I say that, not for the shit that she said, for the fact that he's taking his parental worries and trying to coddle his fucking racist ass fucking daughter precedent over him doing his job as a fucking police chief. You have a 14-year-old domestic terrorist, a fucking racist, sending threatening messages to the black community in your fucking town that you're supposed to fucking protect and serve, do your civil duty to. I don't give a fuck if it's your daughter. Lock her ass the fuck up. Because guess what? Black kids in Naugatuck, even though they're fucking few and in between, they do not feel safe. Hispanic kids in fucking Naugatuck do not feel safe. Fuck, white kids who support BLM and black kids and other kids of color do not feel fucking safe in Naugatuck, because you have a fucking racist and a fucking bigot in the fucking school system. So fuck that that's your fucking daughter. Do your fucking job as a police chief and arrest her fucking ass for domestic fucking threats and terrorism. Arrest your fucking daughter and set a fucking good example, and let these fucking cracker ass motherfuckers know that this shit is not tolerated. That's why he should be fucking removed from the police chief office or whatever position. And their race and that fucking mother should be removed too, because now you're sitting there saying that it's okay that my racist ass daughter can be in the school system, in the school that I'm supposed to protect, these kids that I'm supposed to protect. But it's okay that my racist daughter gets to be in here making threats that the cops can fucking, that my dad's the police chief. So now we're going to ride around shooting black people. Joe, do you have the unedited clips that I sent you? The facts, the hardcore facts, so people don't think that I'm bullshitting, because if not, I'll just read them off myself. But I want the people to see what this racist bitch had to fucking say.
Oh, yeah, I do. Hang on a minute.
Because this is fucking bullshit. Talking about, oh, she made mistakes. She was young. I can't make those mistakes. Black kids in America can't make those fucking mistakes. Hispanic kids can't make those fucking mistakes. But white kids get to sit here and make fucking mistakes all day? That's fucking bullshit, America. And for you assholes that think it's okay for her to go ahead and be able to do some shit and live to fucking tell the story and fucking coddle and white Susie sorry her ass, you're fucking wrong, and you're the reason what's wrong with today as well. Sorry, Joe.
No, that's all right.
No, I'm not fucking sorry. Not to you, but no, I'm not.
No,
fucking sorry.
I got it. You're sorry to me. You're not sorry for that.
No,
as well,
that.
You shouldn't be.
And you're lucky I fucking felt safe and legal Legal always keeps me in check because I had a lot more words for your racist bitch ass. Ooh, you're lucky you're a fucking minor. Fucking racist bigot. And yeah, I called you a bitch. That's why my job won't hire me back, and I don't care.
That's not gonna help.
I don't give a fuck. But you know what's crazy? They would kill me for calling her a bitch. But she will send out here these racist fucking threatening here. I got them right here. Here we go. Let's see here. Let me read one of them. Naugatuck Police Department. Pow, pow, black people. Oh, here's a Snapchat. It's a picture of her and two white friends with the niggas. Oh, here's another one. Black History Month sign. Pow, pow. Oh, where's my favorite? Where is my favorite? I'll make my dad drive with lights and sirens. If we see any black people, we will shoot them. We will shoot them. And then what also pissed me off, right? Especially in the news story, they said, we have to see if these are the words of her. This is her Snapchat, dummies. This is what she came from her account. Let Farmington have black police. Go back to that. Let Farmington have a black police chief and his black son sends out text saying his father can shoot white kids. You goddamn, they be lynching him and his fucking son. And that goddamn fuck Farmington. Let it been anywhere in America. Let that black chief would have had his son on fucking Snapchat talking about we killing crackers and all. When I see you, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then y'all wonder why. I promise you right now, if I would have had a daughter, I wouldn't have been mad as fuck if she went to Naugatuck High and saw that racist bitch and smacked the fuck out of her and knocked her into some common sense. That's the problem with white kids today. They always be a fuck. Well, you know what? It's not just today. From the past history, right? So story time, right? Here I am. I want to say I was in third, fourth grade. I get transferred to a nice white fucking private school called Pine Point Elementary, I believe. Somewhere in fucking eastern fucking Connecticut, right? Here I am, one of the first black kids, or one of the few black kids here. This kid, Peter, whatever his fucking name is, right? Go to a birthday party, and Peter decided to put his fucking hands on me because I was talking to one of the girls that he liked. Right? So white Peter decides to put his hands on me, pushes me into like the bowling balls, right? Oh, here, let me stop telling the story. I will make my dad drive. Oh, yeah, I read that one, right? As I'm telling the story, you guys read that shit, right? So Peter didn't like that I was talking to one of the white girls at this birthday party, right? He puts his hands on me, pushes me into a bowling ball. So what do I do, Joe? I throw his ass back, right? But guess what? They see me throw Peter. They didn't see they didn't see the actual. Everybody said, I remember this very, very distinctively. Everybody said we remember Robert falling back into the balls. We didn't know if he tripped or not. We didn't see Peter push him. But we saw Robert sling Peter across the bowling room floor. So, right? So everybody was like, he shouldn't be doing that. They need to expel Robert. He should. And remind you, this is a private, like, after school thing, right? They tried to get me fucking expelled for putting my hands on this Peter white kid, right? And then they were like, oh, well, you must have did something for Peter just to push you because he just doesn't do that. Now, remind you, Peter was one of those rich white kids, and his family had the fucking money and the backing, and him and his brother, and I believe his brother had graduated or had went to middle school, both had got in trouble for bringing cigarettes in. Well, his brother had got in trouble for bringing in cigarettes in the 5th grade, and then Peter was known to get into fights all growing up from kindergarten all the way up to the 3rd grade when I got there. But it turned into Robert fucking beat up the white kid. So I don't feel sorry or sympathy for any of these fucking racist fucking white kids that decide they want to be ignorant. Oh, here we go. Here's the statement. Oh, they kind of said that shit earlier. And that's another thing. They're just playing it off, just saying, oh, the police chief's going to deal with it. No, he's not the person to deal with it. He needs to be fucking arresting them. And in the same way, you know what else I call bullshit on, Joe? So you know how, like, if kids decide in high school to, like, skip school and they miss so many days, and you know how, like, the parents can go to jail?
Yep.
That's crazy. They hold the parents more accountable for that than this racism. oh, they're gonna deal with it internally. You don't need to have 3 fucking investigations. You're wasting funds, honestly. You're wasting fucking whatever department funds there are and whatever private funds there are, and wherever that money comes from. We see it. It's plain day. This is who she is. This is who she is. I'll tell you right now. I would, and we're gonna use this for example because I fuck with Joe, and I know that Joe's family is not like this. But if one of your daughters, if this was to be your daughter, this, I promise you, I'll piss you off shortly, would never be on Clovercrest Media again. I promise you. And you know what I'm saying? Like it's just fucking ridiculous. Just how not everybody, I'm not gonna say everybody, but there's a lot of people. If you look onto like the news comments and shit on like the Facebook page, they're literally justifying this for her. Well, she listens to rap music. She probably listens to rap music. Her friends probably listen to rap music. You know, where do you think they get it from? It's all high school. It's, no. First and foremost, I'm pretty sure she was in middle school because it said 13, 14. They might have been like freshmen or whatever. And fucking shit, the poor kid that fucking received the message, he looked like he had some kind of fucking culture to him, some kind of ethnicity to him. I could be wrong. So it's just like, imagine having to get that. And then, she even told him to delete it. He was told to delete it by the girl. So she knew she was wrong. Oops. She knew she was wrong. Fuck out of here. Lock that racist clown the fuck up.
Well,
and expel her ass.
Let me ask you a question. Because I feel your anger and your rage. What would you arrest her for?
What hate crime? That's a hate crime. That's a threat. When you say I'm going to get my dad and we're gonna go shoot them, Joe. People,
I'm not disputing it. I'm not disputing that.
Kids go to school and threaten to shoot kids, and they get expelled and arrested for terroristic threats. Am I not lying?
No, you're right.
So yeah, arrest her ass for terroristic threats. I don't give a fuck what the charge is. Arrest her ass, and I don't give a fuck. Put that shit on her fucking record. At least until I don't give a fuck. Make an example out of this bitch. Point blank, period. You want to be with the niggas? All right, I'll bring you with the niggas. We'll go right to the north end of Hartford. See how much you like being with the niggas. I'll bring you to the niggas. Pow, pow. Like literally with a Black History Month sign. How do you think anybody's supposed to, as a person of color, how do you think I'm supposed to feel, Joe?
Horrible. This is terrible. I mean, he should step down immediately.
Immediately.
There should be no question about whether or not he steps down. His resignation should have already come in, and he should have already whooped that ass at home. And I think this is a really good lesson to where you need to teach your kids. Well, again, where did she learn that kind of talk? Sorry, Dad. I don't feel like you were. Put it to you like this. I'm not saying that the police commissioner is also racist, but you must have noticed that your daughter speaks that way. I'm sure it's not only on social media where she's saying things like that. That's a big fail by Dad. If you can't control your own kid, I'm not sure how you're going to control a police force or an entire town.
If you can't hold your child accountable, how are you going to hold officers accountable?
Yeah.
How are you going to? You
got to go.
So, and then Frank, I see a good comment from there you go. Spare the rod, spoil the child. I see a good comment from Frank that says, now that I see the story, you also have to question the kid that released the snaps. Why did he do it now and not before? Did he get pissed off at her for another reason? Frank, honestly, I have to say, this is kind of ignorant, right? The kid was 13. The girl asked him to delete it. He deleted it. What would you do at 13 and a girl asked you to delete it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Even then,
he forgot it was even there. I guess
he was 13. I don't give a fuck if he had it and looked at it every day and then came out 2 days later. He's 13. What? what would you do as a 13-year-old, especially
Right.
if you're not black, if you're not whatever?
Rob, what's this kid's agenda? What's his agenda? I mean, that's basically that's what Frank's kind of asking. What's this kid? Why did he wait till now? What's in it for him? Well, nothing.
Nothing. He's 13, 14 now, or whatever.
This is one of those right-wing. That's Frank. That's left over for when you were being poisoned by the right.
Yeah,
the idea that when someone makes an accusation, you immediately like the messenger. That's the real fucking culprit here. Yeah. I mean, again, we should seriously not only be talking about the daughter and her reprehensible behavior, but we should be talking about the father and why he can't have that job anymore. He just can't be in charge of the police anymore.
Not worrying about the fucking or the young kid, the teenager that finally did what was right. You know what's crazy? And still, that teenager 2 years later has more integrity than you conservative bitches. I'll leave that there. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
To figure out the kid who released him.
That's like a right wing thing now. Like let's exactly the classic mixed direct. Oh, who's saying these things? Well, the fucking person that saw it, you fucking idiot. What does it matter? Let's focus again. This made me laugh earlier with our buddy Carlos, who's very concerned because the New York Times has stopped Donald Trump's lie tracker. Have you heard this?
Good.
30,875
feud lies.
Yeah.
Just feud.
They're not starting one on Biden, and Carlos was flipping the fuck out about it. And I was like, but you don't give a shit about the fucking 30,000 on file, you dummy. Come on.
No, not at all. They don't care.
Come on. They're not going to do one for him. He hasn't lied yet.
No integrity.
He hasn't told one yet.
No more.
But you let 30,000 go. Shut the fuck up. You have no credibility. You have zero credibility when it comes to that.
So
zero.
It's disheartening. It's sad. The father needs to resign. The daughter needs to get. Yes, facts. Daughter needs. I promise you, the girl probably. Well, I don't know if Naga. Well, yeah, no, they're in session, so like they're in physical school. I'm surprised. Like she's. I doubt that she's in school. If I were her, I would be scared shitless, and it's good. I hope that she's scared shitless and doesn't want to go back in that school. Because I would, if I was a student and there was a female or a woman, a woman student that ended up tagging her up, I would look the other way. Honestly, I would look the other way. Hell, if I were to go to Naugatuck tomorrow and see her walking down the street and two black girls fucking jumped her, you think I'm stopping? Nope, I'm keeping going. And I know I know not everybody, but I know people are gonna be like, well, she's young, you gotta go easier. No, fuck that. She wasn't going easy on these fucking black kids when she was fucking threatening their lives and their safety. And still so imagine, you know that she just didn't send it to him. She sent that to a bunch of people. So the rumor got around, the rumor mill got around. So now they know that the police chief's daughter is a racist. How do you think that would make somebody feel? Let's get something straight. I never said point the finger to the kid who released it. I was just questioning it. But after Rob broke it down, I get that the kid was 13 years old. Man, all I'm saying is lock her ass the fuck up. Remove both of those fucking parents and then let them have to go fucking move somewhere else. I hope Naugatuck makes it very uncomfortable for them to live. I pray the black people and the people of color make it super hard for them to live in fucking Naugatuck. And I hope we see some fucking change. Now that we've gotten that racism out of the way, unless you got something else to say, Joe.
No, I'm so, actually, I forgot to mention this earlier. I got a little sidetracked when I was telling you about the thing that I posted. One of my friends, I believe she's black and Hispanic, if I'm not mistaken, or she might just be Hispanic and I'm only making it worse. She commented, and she's one of my all-time favorite people from high school, but I think she hates me a little bit. she said,
Now, is that because she's like super conservative or
no, super liberal, and
Okay.
and she was. I told you we were talking about some of our classmates. We were surprised that we have the 3 white classmates, a guy and two guys and a girl, spewing that horse shit, and she was like, I guess you guys didn't notice, like in high school, these people were exactly who they are now. And when I kind of a long diatribe, and I was like, look, I first and foremost, and I'm ashamed to admit it, but I'll admit it nonetheless. I think I've said it on the show before. The first time I heard white privilege, I was like, get the fuck out of here with that stupid shit, white privilege. And Rob, you know my stories, brother. You know the stories. I've told you mine. People that know those stories said to me, imagine if you were black when all that shit happened. And I was like, oh, I'd have been dead. They would have fucking put me in jail and thrown away the key. Abso-fucking-lutely.
done?
And then I was like, oh, all right, white privilege. Got it. Yes, that's a real thing. As soon as it was explained to me, I completely understood it. I have, I believe, been guilty in the last 8 years of my life of allowing microaggressions against Black and Hispanic and other friends of ethnicity and women. I've allowed shit like that to happen. I'm sure they didn't mean it like that. And I accept the fact that I didn't do enough and that I didn't see it and that I was wrong. And I'm in it. I'm down for the fight. Like I said, there's not a dollar amount that the Republicans could offer me for my vote.
Yeah.
If it meant someone doesn't get their full slate of civil rights. I didn't know all that. I didn't know civil union meant that civil unions weren't equal to a real gay marriage. I didn't know that. When I found out about that, I was like, well, that's no good. I'm willing to change my mind and say I'm wrong when I'm wrong. I'm willing to get a feel of the room and be like, oh, this racism's out of control. We got to stop that shit. If you're still in denial about racism, that was another thing I said to this girl. I honest to God, Rob, after Obama, I thought, all right. I remember, I love John McCain. I voted for John McCain. And when he lost, I remember John McCain, and anybody who hasn't seen it, do yourself a favor. One of the great speeches in American history, where John McCain said, the guy's not a Muslim. He's a good, fine American, just like you. We disagree, but we're one country. One of the great concession speeches, I believe, in history. And boy, we've got a long way from there. We've gone a long way from there. I recognize the significance of Obama being in the White House.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love him.
Mm-hmm.
I criticized him like I'll criticize Biden, like I criticized Bush, like I criticize Trump. Whoever's in that job is definitely not getting a pass by me.
Yeah.
Very politically involved person. I don't fit in anybody's box, and I never will. So this shit's got to stop. And this way I would say to anybody on the right, the racism is there. A lot of them at this point, Rob, will admit it. But then I hear things like, well, we're never going to get rid of it. Yeah, but can't try.
Nope.
Because I know a lot of people that would appreciate that. But look, my point is, I remember Obama evolved his opinion on gay marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can evolve an opinion. You can feel one way about something now,
mm-hmm.
and in time you can learn someone else's perspective. You can grow as a person. You can consider that perspective.
Very true.
Remember in 2012, after Trayvon Martin, I talked to a black friend of mine, Rob, and he's a successful middle class guy, insurance guy even. And I hit him up, and I was like, dude, come on, is it really like that fucking hard out there if you're black? And he was like, dude, you don't even know the half of it. And I was like, what? Really? Even for you? Middle class guy who presents well, I asked. Shitty, rotten casual racist comment. And he was like, well, that's the sort of thing we're talking about. You assume because I'm an insurance guy that what? I'm not a rowdy black guy?
Yeah, see?
Got to change the way I'm thinking about things. But I was listening to Fox News for so long that certainly ideas had settled into my head. I didn't like them. I didn't agree with them. And once challenged on them, I was like, oh, some racist shit going on here. I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. I changed my political identification because I didn't like what they were doing. I didn't just suck it up.
So I'm starting to feel kind of in the same boat with you. Just with my people. And when I say my people, I mean black people. I'm starting to feel that, and this is my feelings, that we have a big, and kind of to your point, I honestly don't believe racism will ever not be an issue. Why do I say that? I say that because there's a racial issue. I can't even say within the white community because you guys are luxury. You guys have the luxury of like being able to classify yourself as something. So like if I sit there and say like when somebody asks you, right, they're not like, hey, Joe, you're white, right? They say, hey, Joe, what are you, right? They ask you what you are. You know what I'm saying? But for black people, we're just black or African American, right? Like we're black in America, so we have to be African, which is I fucking hate. And I'm not like downplaying my roots and my heritage and stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm centuries removed away from Africa, right? If you were to place me right now, if you were to sit there and say, hey, you can go to Africa to live and whatever for free. Nothing against the continent Africa. It's just not like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's not what I know. I know the states, right? So, and I hate that fucking African American term because like the only one in racism is white people, not black people. We have done enough. Now, and I would sit there and say between interracial like racism, I agree and disagree. And I'm gonna get to my point with that, right? So within this past, I spoke on this last week, but within the past week, this whole fucking colorism and black on black just hatred and colorism and like racism and I know some people say, well, black people can't be racist. I might have even agreed with this in prior episodes. So I might be backtracking. I might be pulling the reins back a little bit because the shit that I heard, right? So we'll get right to it. First and foremost, there's a clip that I want to play that kind of we'll play the Blackish clip in a second, just so I can kind of set the mood, just so everybody can understand where I'm coming from. This clip is from Blackish. If anybody is unfamiliar, it's where Dre is explaining kind of the racial and color divide that we have in the country and kind of like where it stems from and all that. So let's play that clip first and then we'll.
My daughter was not lit properly in the class photo and someone decided to print it anyway.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fight. All right, let me give you a little context. Black people come in many shades, from Mariah Carey to Wesley Snipes. Because we look different, we get discriminated against differently. Like in the case of OJ, a magazine made his skin look darker to make him seem more villainous. And sadly, it's not just done to us, like with the "Are you darker than a brown paper bag" test. Sometimes we even discriminate against each other. It's called colorism. The racist belief that light skin is good and dark skin is bad. But it's not just us. People are color struck all around the world. In Asian communities, some people use umbrellas and visors to avoid the sun. In Indian communities, some dark-skinned actors say they have trouble starring even in Bollywood movies. And in the Latin community, products that bleach your skin are becoming increasingly popular. But with Black Americans, people believe colorism was the brainchild of a slave owner named Willie Lynch, who taught other slave owners how to control us by dividing us by color. Turns out, the story of Willie Lynch is a hoax. but it felt real because of the fact that slave owners did divide us by color, putting dark slaves in the field and light slaves in the house. This separation caused deep-seated tension and resentment that continues to this day. The resentment is so great that it makes us hypersensitive to issues of complexion, which brings us back to this. It's gonna be a fight!
Yeah,
So yeah. Man.
You know, I will say this real quick because we've talked about this.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go
into
first,
genetics and stuff. I am. I mean, all skin color is simply your melanin level. Like that's it. It's just a matter of how much. That's it. Literally, where you originally from plays such an important role in what your skin color is. Every generation, though, removed from where you come from, you're slowly getting lighter and evolving into a more monotone color, which eventually I think is what's going to happen. Is that the races are just going to slowly mix to where you won't see the differences eventually.
Which maybe it may. Well, I don't know. It depends because
you won't. That's how evolution's going to go. The reason
in America, I would say in America,
all over the world, the reason why your skin is so dark, Rob, okay, is where your ancestors came from. They were in Africa, clearly, or near the equator. That's where your family comes from.
No,
near the equator. Mine comes from the Mediterranean coast. You can see that in our skin colors. No, that's the only difference between us is where we came from. Eventually, the genes that we're passing on to our kids, the dominant genes that survive, that move on, again, you're eventually going to see there won't be a need for super light skin or super dark skin. It's going to get more mocha going forward.
So the reason why I say I agree and kind of disagree. I agree, especially for the United States, because the United States of America is such a diverse country that's where you see a lot of this interracial stuff going, at least from my knowledge. But then outside of it, when you look at other countries, like they stick. I mean, and that's just because that's just their country. That's the makeup of their country, right? They stick to themselves because that's mostly their makeup. That's what they know. America's different, right? So when we look at America and where I'm going with this, and it's not necessarily the racism between white and black, and I see that they're going ham in the comments right now. Research Rockefeller laws, crack cocaine being purposely put in South Central LA, which destroyed black families and ripped black men out of black homes, and different sentencing guidelines for crack versus powder cocaine. Yes. Very, very true statements. Very, very true statements. And I think that was in response as far as to what Frank was saying. So thank you, Ade, for that.
Well, I think it should be required of every citizen to watch the documentary 13. I think if you haven't watched it, then you can't understand from slavery to now what the hell happened. Because, there's a reason why we talk about like Abraham Lincoln and then Andrew Johnson and Grant. Yeah. And then you don't hear jack shit in American history until like FDR, like 60 years later. What's going on in all that? Well, that's where Reconstruction is. That's where your Jim Crow laws went into place. That's where they started to separate the country. That's where you started having your white and your black bathrooms and drinking fountains and restaurants. That's where all that shit was happening then. And we don't get a whole big dosage of that. The other thing you hear about is the fucking Spanish-American War in 1898. Otherwise, they basically go from and then they win the Civil War, Emancipation Proclamation, and then it's the fucking Depression. They skip like 80 years in there because they don't want to talk about the terrible shit that was happening.
That was going on. Exactly. Agreed. And that's the thing. They're not. And imagine if Trump's bill actually like stayed in place where he wanted to take all that shit out of the actual fucking school curriculum. Definitely would go lost. But my fight right now is not with black versus white, right? Black and white definitely has something to do with it, but right now my fight is black versus black. And yes, we're talking about being pro-black again. Right? So here I am on my favorite app other than talking to you guys every Monday night at 9 p.m. on clovercrestmedia.com, Facebook, and all that, right? Sitting on Clubhouse, right? Sitting on Clubhouse, enter a room about being pro-black, right? Can you be pro-black and again date outside your race? And this room, Joe, like, did we talk about this last week?
Briefly, we did.
Briefly, okay, good.
We got out a little bit.
Okay, so right, so now this is another room because the last room it really caught my attention, and I get into this room, and this room is super crazy, Joe. Like, here we are with the narrative again. You can't be pro-black if you're dating outside your race. Here we go again with like if you're married to somebody, if you're black and you're married to a white person, and really in the room they harped on a couple other races. And that's another thing I wanted to clarify as we're speaking about race and ethnicity, because one, I want to make sure everybody understands what I say when I mention race versus like ethnicity. And then even I want to clarify myself, right? So ethnicity is the fact or state or belonging to a social group that has a common national or cultural tradition. So that doesn't necessarily apply to color. I want to, am I right? Based off that definition, does that apply to color? The word ethnicity, the fact or state of belonging to a social group that has a common national or cultural tradition. Does that directly apply color?
It does not imply color.
Okay. So now when we go to race, right? When we go to the definition of race, I had it up here, but
again, but race is horseshit. And what's the definition of horseshit?
Horseshit. Let's see here.
Race is a social construct.
There we go. So
it's so stupid.
My Googles wasn't working fast enough. I was actually trying to get like the full thing because people like to get in the comments and be like, "Well, actually, it says."
We don't need the Googles. I'll just tell you what all this shit means.
So with race, right? I'm so sick of people, black people specifically. Or extreme black or extreme pro-black people. There we go. Extreme Mabbas. There we go. I'm going to call them Mabbas. Make America Black Again. I'm going to call them that, right? Mabbas. Because these are just extreme pro-black people that really made me, after a long weekend of Clubhouse meetings, of hours of this discussion, made me say, I don't want to be pro-black. If this is what it entails, then I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So basically what they were saying was I could support black businesses. I can literally like give financial gain in building a financial structure for the black community, right? I can bring along you. I can bring white people, everybody to come spend at black businesses, right? Or support black economics. But the moment I marry or date somebody that is white or non-black, I am no longer pro-black because, and here was one of their fighting arguments. Check this. If my significant other was white and I passed away, that would mean that my inheritance or my money that goes, or their inheritance for me would go straight to the white community. Right. And one of the examples they gave was Kobe Bryant, right? Or go to the other community, right? And they led with Kobe Bryant and his wife, Vanessa, right? First and foremost, Vanessa's Mexican. You cannot let Clubhouse meeting define your pro. Come on, man. No. I'm not letting it define it. I'm going by what their definition is.
Well,
let me land. Let
me just add this.
Let me land.
Unfortunately, most of the people who get a platform to speak and host stuff on Clubhouse,
they're dumb as
fuck.
I
really hate to say this, but are ignorant as the fucking day is long.
Ignorant is
shocking that people turn to fucking idiots to get their information from. So Clubhouse is not doing anybody any favors right now.
Let's not get it twisted. I'm not looking at Clubhouse like it's the fucking knowledge central. I'm there most of the time. I'm in the ratchet rooms. I'm in the fun shit. or I'm in actual like good networking rooms. This was good because it's good to hear at least the dialect, whether good or bad. I needed to understand what black people were saying, right? Because obviously I'm thinking I'm pro-black, right? But obviously, according to them, I'm not. Neither are my siblings, because I'm pretty sure all 4 of my siblings are dating outside of their race at this point. You know what I'm saying? And not saying I dated outside my race, just my significant other now just happens to be black, right? So it's just like I call bullshit. And they were like, well, no, if your significant other is white, that means that their family is going to talk. Rob is there to just start shit. Oh yeah, you're damn right, Frank. Oh yeah, I'm there for the action. If my sister was watching, she'd probably tell you. Well, she calls me a troll first and foremost. She said that I wanted to speak just because I know the right things to say to get people going. But right, wrong, and she said right, wrong, or indifferent, you just know how to, I guess, like get people stirred up. So, and it rightfully so. I have a podcast name I'll piss you off shortly, right? Because I give it to you raw and I call you for the bullshit. So one of the first questions that I got into was like, I think I might even led with this question was right. What's the benefit of if I'm not pro-black, right? So what benefits do I lose now not being pro-black? You know what I'm saying? Like when I swipe my credit card, I get points. There's no pro-black card for me to fucking swipe. So you guys are taking a pro-black card away from me for what? When I didn't even know what the fucking benefits were in the first place. What does that mean? You guys aren't going to support me? Well, that's cool, because when I looked at like all their fucking Instagram photos and they were like, oh, you got to support black businesses and da-da-da-da-da-da, you can't be supporting a man. Guess what I see? I see fake Louis shirts, fake Gucci shit, Calvin Klein, all these other designer brands. That's not black. But y'all are pro-black? No, y'all are fucking morons. Y'all are contradictory morons. I said some other words, but I won't use it on this platform addressing other black people while with a white host. I will say that. But y'all were fucking morons. And then secondly, they said, my sister just happened to get in there, and she goes, and she addresses and she goes, yeah, I'm married to a loving white man, and you know what I mean? But I'm super pro-black. And what if we have children? Like if we have interracial children, can they be pro-black? Now get this, Joe, right? They said that my sister's kids could be pro-black as long as they dated somebody that's black. And she had the responsibility to train them on being pro-black and how to be pro-black, but she could not be pro-black herself. Does that make any sense?
No.
So, do you get what I'm saying? Do you get what logic they literally just said?
It's a little warped. I got it. I'm trying to follow.
I'm not authorized to be pro-black, but I can certify you, signed, sealed, delivered, give you all the knowledge base of how to be black, how to, you know what I mean, how to act black, not act black, how to live, survive black, how to be pro-black, how to support black, how to build black wealth, how to all that shit. But I can't be one myself. So then it goes into then as I'm processing all this shit, and I'm like, y'all are supposed to be pro-black, but y'all are hating on black people for just loving who they love, right? Like you're literally you're supposed to be your whole sentiment of pro-black is supposed to be the upliftment of black people, no matter what. But there's levels to being black. There's, you know what I mean, like you can be black or you can be pro-black, but if you do this, nah, you're not good. And then it gets into the whole colorism thing. We're like, okay, well, if somebody's light skinned, why can't they be pro-black as well? Well, because they don't have all the blackness in them. They're not necessarily, you know, they're not mixed, they're interracial. So their white family could claim them as white, so that makes them partially white. And I'm like, well, y'all are lying, because even if you were light skinned growing up in the 1930s, guess what? They put you, if you had any kind of black into you, you was fucking black. Am I wrong or am I right? You had that N. You had an N right next to your name, right? And we already know what that N stood for, right? So it's just like, at what point? Because my sister's lighter than me, right? My sister, I'm the dark. Matter of fact, out of all my siblings, I'm the darker skinned person. So you're telling me that everybody, because they're black, their mama, their daddy was black, blackity black, that because they're lighter than me, that doesn't make them pro-black, or they can't be just as pro-black as me, or that their family wasn't pro-black, or their parents were like my mom and dad weren't pro-black, or my not my mom and dad, my grandparents weren't pro-black. Hell, if you go back generations, and one of the points that my sister brought up, and it was very super valid, was that if all of us African Americans go back into our lineage, we're gonna find a white person in our fucking lineage. And that's just simple. Like if you look at a picture of my grandfather, Joe, his skin complexion is yours. No lie. You and him just about have the same skin complexion. He just has some nice black woolly hair. Only difference. You want to know why? His mother was white and his dad was black. But guess what? On his birth certificate, that shit says Negro. So for black people to once again start using this colorism shit, and this is why I say racism in America could never really be fixed, because one, we have our own isms within ourselves that we can't respect one another, and then two, we scream. Well, I'm not gonna say we. I don't want to group all of us together because we all don't believe that way, right? And that's another thing. I'm really starting to feel like I want to get rid of this fucking, well, for myself, like I want to get rid of this like race terminology. But anyways, but for our black community and our, you know what I mean, in the black community, like we just listening through that whole conversation, it felt like, and maybe it's just I've been listening to 33 years of just the white man, 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 the white man. And then you see like, yes, we still have so many social injustices going on, but we've still come far from where we were, right? And it's just like when you tell me that I'm not pro-black because I don't love somebody a certain way, I feel like I'm jumping because it, like this shit has really irked me, Joe. Like there's so many points to it, but let me try and gather my thoughts with this. With the colorism in America, I mean, within the black community, you have people that believe that if you're not dark, you're not black. If you're mixed, if you're light skinned, you're not black. Let's see, Malcolm X and Thurgood Marshall were light skinned, and Cornel West is married to a white woman, and they are all pro-black individuals. So true. All three of them. Probably the blackest black people I've ever known in history. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it sucks. It really sucks because we want equality. That's what I was saying. One, we want equality. We want to be treated as equals. But two, in the same token, we're racist against white people. Like, and when I say that, I just use it as a collective, right? Because all throughout the whole time, I just heard white people, white people, white people. It was just black versus white. It wasn't a lot of like, oh, black and Asians, black and Hispanics, black, you know what I'm saying? But even then, they were like, oh no, if you're Dominican and black, you're not black. Because Dominicans or Hispanics, they're closer, they're from Spain, and Spain is white. If you look at Spain now, I'm like, y'all are fucking bugging. Like, y'all are so fucking too woke. Y'all are so woke, you're asleep. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, how can we want equality, but we're still trying to fight and we're against every white person? That was the thing. They were like, every white person's bad. Every white person is bad, right? But, you know, black people, you guys, like, every black person is good. And they killed me because I'm a firm believer of just because you're my color does not make you my brother. And I think I've said that plenty of times on here before, right? And I say that because, prime example, I'll piss you off shortly, right? Skin color or who you fall in love with has nothing to do with your pro-blackness. I know I did. I know it doesn't for me, but I'm just for these morons, right? So they said, I told them, I said, just because somebody's your brother doesn't mean that color doesn't mean your brother. They was like, by definition, black people can discriminate but can't be racist. Okay.
I think that comes from the idea that you need to be in the position of power in order to be racist.
Okay.
And I tend to buy that. I think if you're black and you don't trust the white man, I mean, I get that as much as I get Cubans who are afraid of socialism. I mean, I get it. You would have every right to feel that way, to be mistrustful of the white man. I don't know how you wouldn't.
But this was different. Like, this was just like, even if they prove you right, even if they're married to you and they've advocated, they've been an ally, they're still gonna go the other way. You know what I'm saying? This is what the show's about. This is what the show's about. And share it. This is what the discussion's all about, right? Let's discuss color, right? So, damn, now I lost my fucking train of thought.
We're talking about color.
I know we're talking about color, but what was I just saying? That just means you weren't even just listening to me.
No, I was. What you were just saying was,
fuck.
You were talking because again, this idea keeps coming up about being pro-black.
Oh yeah. So,
but again, what? So I guess the first question, what is being pro-black?
Oh, they don't know. They didn't have a full. There's no definition of being pro-black. Now, their guidelines were you had to pretty much live in a black community. You had to provide income to the black community, like support black businesses. I did ask. I said, does that include taxes to like where you live, or is it just renting? They're like, no, you got to live. I said, well, that's a dumbass statement, because if I'm just renting, that doesn't mean shit. Like that, I'm not. My owner's probably white. I'm giving my money into him. Yes, his taxes are getting paid into this, but it's not improving shit, right? So that was another argument. But and honestly, it makes no sense to just be renting and just, or even owning, and the community looks like shit. Like, I get it. You're not getting funds and everything else like that. But guess what? I know that we didn't have the best house in the world. We didn't have all, I mean, let me say it like that. We didn't have the biggest house in the fucking world. We didn't have the most luxurious shit, but we took pride in what the fuck we had. We didn't have all the expensive scientific cleaning shit, but guess what? We kept our fucking area good. You know what I'm saying? Nope, you're in right on. Well, you missed some of the story. You missed some of it, but you're right on time. Right on time. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, don't scream. You're not doing nothing for my neighborhood when you're not even doing shit for yourself. When we walk down into certain areas and you won't even, I see black people just walk over trash or walk over whatever, or letting people, I'm not even gonna get into that, because this is, I feel like this isn't the platform for that, or at least I should have other black people on the stage and not just going into that deep of a session just with a white man, black and white man. But anyways, what I'm saying is, it sickened me that they're still with this colorism, that there's so much colorism in this within the black community, and that you can literally look at yourself in a different, I guess, hierarchy in your blackness when we're all fighting the same fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just like, it was it was super disgusting. So what, I say that to say this. Come this Saturday, I would love, because I feel like even just me and you, or sometime very soon, I would love to do like I'll piss you off Zoom with like as many people as we can that are serious about talking about race and equality. Well, not equality. Well, I guess equality can fit into it, but race, equality, colorism, and have that, because I feel like one of the ways to actually like combat this shit is to have a full-fledged on like conversation with everybody. And I feel like a lot of people can't have that conversation or aren't willing to have that conversation. I really want to do another. I'm probably going to do, I'll pitch you off shortly, pro-black room, just to see like what happens and try and dig deeper. But as far as an episode and content, I would love to do a like Zoom with as many people as we can get of all different backgrounds and ethnicities to really have a solid discussion. But as far as like black people go, it like these black extremists, that's what I'm going to call dear black extremists, right? It hurt. It really hurt, because it's just like, I don't see us being able to develop as a community if we're still downplaying ourselves, if we're still hating on ourselves. Hell, there was a whole nother controversy with a Dominican Hispanic person of color, which is bullshit. Well, I'm not gonna say bullshit, but which I'm super confused by, because I'm pretty sure like Dominican, like DR, they were all slaves too at one point, right? And then they were just they. If I'm not, I could be ignorant, right? They were slave and people of color as well. They just culturally, they grew up in a different area, right, or a different ethnicity, right, because they're on a different country. When they're in the islands and they spoke a different language, right, other than the English that we were taught. But it's just like even that kind of hatred between like Hispanics and blacks, and then even just the category, right? With white people or Caucasians, right? Nobody says, "Hey, Joe," and we said this earlier, right? Just Joe, you're white. No, they say, "Hey, Joe, you're Italian or you're whatever." For us, it's like you're black or you're brown. Where did this black and brown shit come from too? And I hate that. Why do we? And that, well, I know where it comes from because we don't have a tribe or we don't have anything to like go back to. All everybody can sit there and say is refers to a continent. You know what I'm saying? Like we get referred to as a continent. And we don't know, we don't have our history. And this, me and my sister, and if anything that I got out of this was great building and just fellowship with my sister. I'll say that because it broke down. She schooled me on a lot of things, and it also schooled me because she was saying, she goes, if you look back into our family lineage, right? I'm pretty sure if you go back into your lineage, Joe, you can go back generations, like probably what 1700s, maybe like 1600s. Our shit stops at like 1900s. Literally, like my great grandmother was born in like 1903. And how to, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and it stops, and all that shit's vague. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just recently learned that my great grandmother was on my grandmother's side was, you know what I mean? Everybody, well, they originated from Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Shit like this. And that's because we don't have that history. We don't know where to go back to. Unfortunately, it's looking like in my family history that the person who my great grandfather was how he was conceived was through rape as a slave. His mother was a slave, and it seems like the owner raped him. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that's facts. You know what I'm saying? That it's looking like true facts. Just the way everything's like kind of panning out to be, it's just it's just sickening. So like when we don't have anything to go back to, we're just stuck down to just a color. And I wish that there was a way that we can just get rid of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that might be a true way for us as black people to heal, and then be able to heal not necessarily heal ourselves from racism. And then also I think that will empower us a lot more. Like we're so stuck to a color while everybody else is actually stuck to a culture, a society, a fucking ethnic group. We're just fucking African Americans. Like that's fucking pitiful. So, but anyways, I'm definitely going to get that big group going. So if you guys are watching or listening and you would like to be a part of it, please let us know, and we'll send us an email or hit us up in the messages, and we'll definitely have you as part of a good cultural episode for that. I'll go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. So one of the things I talk about a lot is the fact that the galaxy's 13.8 billion years old. Earth is about 4.5 billion years old. We started farming 12,000 years ago. And we've been living in cities for about 6,000 years. That's it. The Industrial Revolution was like 145 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We learned about germ theory 100 years ago. We learned about the theory of evolution about 145 years ago. So much of this stuff has happened within our lifetime. This idea that you said it earlier, there's always going to be racism. Yeah, of course there is. I mean, we are primates who, for about 6,000 years, have been trying to live together in communities, and we've struggled with that. For most of the 6,000 years we've been living in cities, there's been war and murder and rape, and a lot of the times it's based on either your race, your nationality, or your ethnicity or your culture. And it pretty much has since we first started. As soon as they figured out how to take a stick and put a sharp end, just started killing each other. And it's typically been over either your nationality, your race, or your religion. And I mean, again, in the short time that we've been around, the fact that we don't murder each other every day, constantly, speaks volumes about where we are as human beings.
Well, that's because of the laws, though. Back then, they didn't have the laws.
Obviously. But you know, it's funny, Rob. Before they had laws, people just sort of knew better. People kind of figured it out. Basic humans.
So?
Oh, yeah.
So why do we need the 10 Commandments?
Oh, we didn't need the 10 Commandments. What a joke that is. I mean, do you...
But usually they say rules only made because of...
Sure. Let me tell you the story of Moses. One of the biggest bullshit stories of all time. Let me lay this on people, okay? First of all, there's no evidence that Moses existed. I'll give you one better. You know where Mount Sinai is? Do you know where literally Moses got the 10 Commandments? Do you know Mount Sinai does not exist?
Really?
Yeah. Now, there's a place in the Middle East called the Sinai Peninsula, which got its name because that's where people thought it probably was. It ain't. There's 10 different places on Earth that claim to be Mount Sinai, and none of them is called Mount Sinai. Okay. Now, according to the story in the Old Testament, Moses had about 30 to 40,000 people in his traveling community. They made the Exodus out of Egypt, which there's no evidence of that either, but that could be another show. In fact, when he got to Mount Sinai, he went up, he got the 10 Commandments. How did 30,000, say 40,000 people, Rob, spend 40 years wandering the desert together if they didn't know that murder and rape and torture and burglary was wrong? Bad. I mean, what a horseshit story, and what an insult to those people who it turns out didn't exist. The Israeli Antiquities Department, as soon as they took over the Middle East in 1948 when Israel was created, they immediately set out to start digging. They wanted to find Moses.
And they didn't. What did they
find? Mean, if the Israelis have every reason to find Moses, and they looked from 1948 to about 3 years ago.
Oh, no Moses?
There's no evidence of there ever being any of that at all. It's a story, a poor story at that. Okay?
I you already know where I stand on religion.
There's too much taken from a book that calls for genocide, rape, torture, slavery, child abuse. The problem is that's the book that so many people are looking for to draw their morals.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
That's not a good book.
Well, how about this? Fuck the religion. Fuck the religion. Like,
it hasn't done anybody any favors, except for a few alcoholics I know. But what they don't realize,
and a bunch of wars.
It was them all along.
Well, so there's a there was one more video that I actually wanted to show, and it kind of, when I saw this video, as I was kind of doing research and trying to find something, you know what I mean, something of substance. I watched this. This was about 10 years ago, and I believe Andy Cooper, I believe he was part of this research study. But it shows what children think of colorism and like race, and I definitely wanted to show this and talk about it. So let's go ahead and do this, because I definitely trying to stay under 3.
Go. Our second major finding: even black children as a whole have some bias toward whiteness, but far less than white children.
She'll be the smart child. And why is she the smart child?
Because she is white.
Okay. Show me the dumb child. And why?
Crazy. Crazy.
What?
Nah, she's crazy. This is crazy.
And why is she the ugly child?
Because she's black.
Show me the good-looking child.
Points to a white girl.
Why is she the good-looking child?
Because she's light-skinned.
And show me the skin color you believe most teachers think looks bad on a girl.
This is amazing.
I don't think they think it matters. Because I think each teacher wants to help a student learn either way what they look like. And it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside. It just matters what you look like on the inside.
Show me the good-looking child.
They look the same.
Yeah? Show me the child you would like as a classmate.
All of them.
You like all of them as classmates? Why do you say all of them?
Because I don't really care what color they have.
This 5-year-old girl gave some provocative answers during her
Listen to this.
I asked her about them later.
How about you? Why do you want that skin color?
Because it looks lighter than this kind, because this looks a lot like that one.
Beautiful queen. You are beautiful. Your skin is beautiful.
The way brown looks, because the way brown looks really nasty for some reason, but I don't.
Who's teaching her that shit though?
That's
so you think it looks bad?
Yeah. Keep that question right there.
But sometimes.
Sometimes. And Brielle, they asked what color adults don't like. Do you remember what you said? Which one? That's right. That's what you said. Why do you think adults don't like that color?
Dark.
Dark. And adults, you think adults don't like dark?
Well, maybe some adults do, but maybe some of them don't.
The questions that got overwhelmingly white biased answers?
Show me the one you think most children would think looks bad on a boy.
More than 70% of the older Black children chose the darkest skin tones.
Show me the child who has the skin color most children don't like.
More than 61% of the younger Black children chose the 2 darkest shades.
Show me the ugly child.
More than 57% of the younger Black kids chose the 2 darkest shades. Dr. Spencer says the research shows the bias toward white is still very much part of our culture.
All kids are exposed to these stereotypes, but what's really significant here is that white children are learning or maintaining those stereotypes much more strongly than the African American children.
And that is our third finding, the finding that interested Dr. Spencer the most, that overall younger and older children keep the same patterns, stereotyping. In other words, their ideas change little from age 5 to 10.
Ordinarily, by the time children are older, there's this sort of a natural filter, their own ways of thinking sort of aids them in sort of rethinking the extreme stereotypic sort of responses to become less highly biased.
That left Professor Spencer wondering what's causing this pattern. She speculates that kids are bombarded by stereotypical messages and that adults in kids' lives have to fight to override the deluge. Black parents may be more diligent about that, while white parents may not notice the need.
The messages are the same for all children, and therefore the task is the same for all parents. Parents have to reframe what children experience.
We realize these findings may be disturbing and that some people will question this project's conclusions. What stereotypic messages are being sent in a country that elected a Black man president?
I, Barack Hussein Obama.
Like all research projects, ours is not perfect. Some kids were told ahead of time they'd be asked about race. Some
The white
children
kids
identified as one race, but came from biracial families, like this boy whose mom is white. But Professor Spencer tells us these are common issues in research, and the results can still be trusted because of the sample size. To be clear, this is a scientifically informed and executed pilot study, which suggests the need for further research. The results point to major trends, but are not the definitive word on children and race. Still, they underline what Dr. Spencer sees as an alarming conclusion.
We are still living in a society where dark things are devalued and light things are valued.
The question we're left with is, where do we go from here? Anderson Cooper, CNN.
So yeah, Devonna hit it right on the head. And I think I saw how they put society as well. But yeah, they learned it from their families, the TV, the microaggressions they experience from adults. And I definitely want to second that and caveat with that by saying it. I believe it definitely unintentionally starts at the home. And when I say that is because, especially in Black families, we have to make sure we get ahead with our children. Like even now, well, even before then, like I speak to and how their white classmates treat them as well, because those white classmates, they receive certain characteristics and habits from home and their family and their, you know what I mean, whatever. But what I'm saying is that we have to be so proactive as Black parents with discussing color, discussing discrimination, discussing racism with our children, that it's there, so they're looking for it, right? And I look back at for me, it all starts at home by speaking to your kids and teaching them the correct values of life. Correct. So I was just gonna say, if it was only that simple, and even then, Frank's workload and how he has to address his children or his grandchildren is different. How I have to express and raise mine. You know what I'm saying? And not to say that, and I can't even really fully. Well, I can say that because, even though being a person of brown skin, I mean, it still has its woes. But like, let's face it, being Cuban in Florida isn't as bad as being Black in Georgia or being Black in America, period. You know what I'm saying? But it starts at home for us. We have to be super proactive, that it actually builds I believe, like a hard exterior shell around Black people. And kids at an early age, they already know that to things to be looking at. I disagree. It's the images being fed to them when they leave home. It's not the Black household. I would have to disagree with that, Ade, because even like for instance, when I was growing up, from as early as I can remember, I was taught, be careful around white people. This is what's going to happen. And it wasn't to scare tactic. It was real life, right? Because in first grade, while I was at a playground, I remember 2 kids playing at the playground and their parents moving them and saying, get away from that Black boy. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, luckily I was at an age where I not necessarily understood, but knew that was something that could happen to me. So at a very young age, because it's the safety and the things to be looked at and taught to us that we're supposed to be aware of, that's instilled in us early, right? I'm sure you're not teaching your son at the age of 4 how to maneuver around police officers, or how to maneuver around, you know what I'm saying? Or there's certain mannerisms he can't do around white people, or even like, we'll use this, I mean, around, you know what I'm saying? We'll use a prime example.
My son still wants to be a policeman, Rob. That's where we're at. We haven't even gotten past that shit yet.
So, and that's the thing, to you, when your son's like, oh, I want to be a police officer. Oh, all police officers are good. It's different when a Black kid's like, I love police officers and all police officers are good. And I'm like, bro, we have so much to learn. But at the same time, and that's why I say it's a responsibility of Black parents, I believe that we may have been introduced to it a lot earlier, but it was necessary at the same time. I understand that it was necessary because being Black in America, you never know when this experience is going to hit you, right? So like I was saying, like, to the point of like, when you go into like grocery stores, majority of the kids that are screaming, yelling, and acting up, they're white. You want to know why? Black kids don't have that luxury. If a Black kid is in a grocery store having a temper tantrum or just being a kid, they're looked at as wild, crazy. They don't have any home training. They don't have, like, what are their parents doing? Where are their parents? But if it's white, it's just, oh, little Johnny's he's okay. Get him the lollipop. He's fine. Let him have.
Rob, when I was 8, my sister and I had a foot race down one of the aisles at the Super Wall Bombs.
Mm-hmm.
And she elbowed me right towards the end of the race. And I ran into a display of ketchup bottles. Knocked a whole thing over. Fucked up all sorts of bottles.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody said a word. I've been in stores plenty of times, even as a kid, just walking around with my dad, where I saw little black kids that were looking at toys or whatever, be
Don't touch that.
questioned. Funny story. My,
Definitely don't touch a toy in a store if you're black.
Oh yeah, my 8-year-old daughter is on the spectrum, and she was meeting with her doctor the other day, and they were going over some stuff, and the doctor asked her about police officers, what police officers do, and my daughter's response was, "They eat donuts and they shoot people."
Oh shit! Gave it to him real, huh?
Yeah. And I had to jump on the call, and I'm like, I don't want you to think we're like an anti-police family or something over here.
Now, was that the youngest one?
Yeah.
Yes.
They eat donuts and they shoot people.
Hey, hell yeah. Tell her I got a donut from Dunkin' on her way next time I come over. Whatever she wants on me. She always has the best answers. Yes, I saw a comment from Devana that I want to agree with. She says, so family members telling me I think I'm cute or I sound white doesn't count. You know, that very much counts. Very, very much counts. Ade says, you can be told black is beautiful, say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. My mother taught me and brother all that in our household, but went to elementary school. People in society saw me as an ignorant black kid from the north end of Harvard. Exactly. You know, and now that you put it that way, I can see, I see where you're saying. And that's the thing, like we can be taught those things. And like I said, it's not, I don't want to say it was a bad thing that we were taught those things. It just sucks that we had to be taught those things so early. So now at an early age, like the first girl, right? I'm sure like in her head, well, no, I'm sure at home, you know what I mean? She was taught that, you know, people think about, you know, white people think about that about black kids, right? It's not that she just thought about that just out of the blue. I would hope to think. I'm sure somebody instilled that. But imagine if that wasn't instilled in her head until later and she didn't have to go through those experiences, right? It would be, or even take away, she didn't have to go through those experiences, but like it's just like a catch-22 in my eyes. It's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if you don't prepare them and they go through that experience, you never know what might happen. But if you, I guess shit in that sense, and it sucks because being a black person is better to be over prepared than under prepared. I would rather my son be over prepared for the situation, and now that I explained it, yeah, like I don't, yeah, that sucks. That fucking blows. That we have to be over prepared. I get both points, so it's a good discussion, but being taught all the good shit at home does not protect you from the images society feeds you as black person in the country. Very true. Very, very true. But I'm glad that little piece could bring up some discussion, especially that, because I thought that was very important. And that was a very intriguing and you know what I mean, intriguing study. But yeah, if you guys like this conversation, I definitely think I'm going to start giving people sending people invites for I want to do a big like town, like I'll piss you off shortly. It's either going to be a clubhouse room or it's just going to be a Zoom or maybe a mix of both. But yeah, Frank, let's see here. I know it's not easy, but we have to speak to our kids and prepare them for life and teach them right and wrong. You know what? It's easier said than done though, right? Because it's hard to teach somebody what's right, especially, and I'm not saying this for Frank, but it's hard for somebody to teach a child what's right, especially if they don't know exactly what's right, right? So imagine somebody feeling like they're an ally and being like, oh, I'm going to teach my kid, you know, not to hate black people, right? But you're not teaching your child, if you're not integrating them into culture, if you're not diversifying like their growth and everything like that, like, and putting them in certain situations, they're still going to be culturally ignorant. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's another thing, like, people aren't willing just to learn. You know what I'm saying? Like, learn about one another, like see what's about different ethnicities and cultures. And yeah, but I'm not going to keep going on about it. It's kind of hard to have this kind of conversation with just two people. But yeah, so let's see here. Let's see. But yeah, other than that, it's been a good episode. What do you think, Joe?
This has been a fantastic episode, and I'll tell you, I think when we started this show, I wouldn't have to sit here and talk about race. I'd have been like, yeah, Rob, I'll just sit here quietly and you do your thing. But it's I like it, and I think Frank is right. I mean, in a lot of ways, we do have to talk to our kids. And I forgot who said it in the comments before. I don't remember who said it. That to end racism, it really is on white people.
Ade said that.
Well, Ade's correct. I often think to myself, Martin Luther King, and the many black people that were part of that movement, it really grew its legs because it had the support of white liberals, who were willing to walk across the bridge and get cracked over the head too with them. That's what did it. That's what eventually won the hearts and minds of America, and we're gonna have to do it again. I was just saying to somebody yesterday, I am pro-black and I am still pro-police. I think it's 100% on the police to make good by the black community, because they are 99% responsible for the shitty relationship that the black community and the police have. And as the governmental agency and the power in between these two groups, I think it's incumbent on the police nationwide to figure out how to patch things up and move forward with the black community.
Agreed. And it's going to be interesting to see what Biden does, because this is his chance to really, really prove that they're for the black community that they say they are. And honestly, he has a lot of promises to uphold and upkeep, to start making positive moves and swings into, maybe getting that equality and, end of racial divide.
Wouldn't have been the nominee, wouldn't have been the president, and wouldn't have a majority in the Senate if it wasn't for black voters. And I am certain that Joe Biden, in our lifetime at least, will end up being the best president, as far as race is concerned, that we've ever had.
Even better than Obama?
Yes. And I'll tell you why. One of the things you and I have talked about, Rob, we talked about it when you were at my house the other day. After I'm sorry, not Trayvon, but Michael Brown, Eric Holder and Barack Obama as black men had every chance and opportunity and every reason to be like, fuck it, burn it down, mother. We're done with this shit.
Tear Ferguson up.
But they didn't. They told the people of Ferguson to get the fuck home, stop burning and breaking shit, and go vote if you want to make change. They did the right thing. They didn't do the black thing. And I don't mean to say the black thing is wrong. That kind of came out wrong, if you know what I mean.
Oh, Joe, hold up.
No, you know what I mean.
Whoa,
Rather than do what was expedient, I should say,
Whoa,
they chose rather than to serve their own community, to serve the greater good. That would have been a good moment for them to be like, you know what, black people, fuck it. Let's take to the streets. Let's own this shit.
They're going to kill you in the
comments. And imagine how the conservatives would have loved that, a president inciting an insurrection. But again, they didn't do that, Rob. They were I told you, they took an extra day just to make sure that emotion stayed out of it as black men, that they weren't going to speak as black men, that they were going to speak as the president and the attorney general.
Facts.
And I wish they hadn't. I wish they would have addressed the nation as black men. I think that would have been a good thing.
Okay.
I'll tell you right now.
I almost had a devil's advocate.
Joe Biden would not be in that situation. Joe Biden would be, because he's a white guy. He could be like, whoa, you know what? Bullshit. He could say that. He doesn't have to worry about the optics of being a black man telling black people, like, you can be pissed. You should be pissed. That's the difference.
Facts.
That's the difference. And thank you, everybody. That definitely came out wrong. I do
You with me,
appreciate
Joe.
everybody's understanding. Yeah. Well, again, what I meant to say was they did what was more appropriate for the country than for the black community. They really did. And again, this comment, it's not on black people to change the way police officers interact with the black community. It's 100% on the police to figure it out with the black community. Community policing. There was a time, Rob, where these cops used to walk the beat in the projects, where they got to know these guys. They knew whether Tamir Rice was a troublemaker or just a kid out there having fun. They knew guys like Michael Brown could be a little fucking nutty at times, a little aggressive. They knew who the bad guys were, who the troublemakers
and they knew who
were.
To talk to. They knew who to talk to, and they knew. And no,
the police need to get back to that. If it means spending more money on the police, the opposite of defunding, I'm all right with that. But get these fucking cops on the beat to meet these kids, get to know these kids again. That way we don't have some fucking, again, in the case of Tamir Rice, I don't know how well you know the story, or if you even might have told me the story, but there was a substation there. Right? Did you tell me the story, or did somebody else tell me this?
I remember telling you.
The cops all knew Tamir Rice. They closed that substation down at that park. Yeah. So that instead of being a cop that knew Tamir Rice, it was two fuckheads from across town who pulled up, got out, and just shot the fucking kid. That would not have happened
if they knew.
If that substation had still been in the park. That cop would have been like, Tamir, put that fucking gun down. What are you doing?
Exactly. If they knew their community, if they lived in their fucking community, if they actually served their community.
Police do need more money. And I'll tell you why. A lot of these guys need to be retrained. They have to stop being afraid of black skin. They have to stop looking at every black person as a threat. I mean, I don't think this should be on anybody that more often. I mean, I don't think I ever remember a cop walking up to my car, Rob, with his hand on his fucking holster. I don't think it's ever happened to me in my fucking life. Not one time. I'm a big dude. I got a beard. I people think I'm Hispanic. I could be a little intimidating looking, I think, but it's never happened to me. It's never happened to me. It only seems to happen. No, I don't mean, listen, I don't mean giving
why
them,
don't you?
Hold
Keep
on.
bragging.
I don't mean giving these guys raises. What I mean to say is
no.
More money going into the police office to train these guys. Correct. That's what I'm talking about. I don't mean to give the cops any more money.
The police department doesn't need more money either. They just need to get deep into their budgets and actually go line by line and start reallocating funds and start getting rid of bullshit training. And so you know what I'm saying? That's it. They just need to rebudget themselves.
Again, when we talk about defunding the police, what we mean is
rebudget.
Correct. Let's rebudget the police, but let's put some money into community policing and for these guys to take racial sensitivity so that they can literally learn to not fear black people. Or the other thing, Rob, we've talked about this before, that the Jacob Blake thing was fucking horrible. And Philando Castile was horrible, but even fucking worse was the fact that they did it with little black kids just a couple feet away, like they didn't give a fuck. Like they didn't even consider those black kids as anything beyond collateral damage.
Exactly.
That's a problem.
We got this world. When will the madness ever stop?
In the grand scheme of things, Rob, it has been, I mean, think about it. The Civil War, the Emancipation Proclamation, Jim Crow, you're talking about the early 1900s.
Not too far.
None of this is that far off. The Civil Rights Movement, dude, was just before I was born. Literally like 7 years before I was born, MLK got shot and killed in Memphis.
Not too far removed from all this.
That is
literally what, 60 years?
Jesus Christ. That is so recent. The fact that we're where we're at we should be fucking patting ourselves on the back a little bit.
And
Got a long fucking way to go. But where we've come to where we were, holy shit. We can't get lazy. We can't get complacent. We got to keep on working at it. But I think from time to time we forget where we were to where we've gotten and where we can get to.
Facts. And I think we can get far if we all start to have beautiful conversations like we've had tonight. Look at it. I mean, comments are going crazy with all great content, valued and highly informative content and comments. That's what I love. Collectively, Black wealth home ownership was not gotten any better in 70 years.
Well, and you know, Rob, I mean, all summer long when they were complaining about police brutality, what was I talking about? I was like, I can't believe you guys are just fucking worried about police brutality. Wealth, home ownership, business ownership, it's definitely not gotten better. I mean, you're talking about you're talking about 10 or 20 years ago, there were still policies in place at major banks to make sure people like you didn't get loans.
Chase still has
fucking
those
crazy.
Chase
They don't. They can't. Listen.
Next episode.
They can't legally have anything in the books. I'm sure. Rob, look, I'm in the business. I'm in the real estate mortgage. I'm telling you, I've seen the numbers. It's still fucking pathetically low. The amount of black people and what they're approved for loans. It's still a struggle that we're dealing with every single day, and it's a huge problem. Again, I told you a year and a half ago, they did a big study in Long Island, and the racism experienced by black homeowners was fucking mind-blowing for 2020. Mind-blowing.
I think that's a whole nother conversation as far as like developing black wealth. Breaking that generational curse, and getting to all that. That's a whole nother avenue of approach. That like. I might have to see if I can get Ade to actually come on here, because that would be a dope episode, I think, to have him on here. And for anybody that doesn't know Ade, that's been in the comments, that's my big OG, that's the big cuz, but he's my mentor and everything and a lot of things in life. But yeah, so I would love to get him. I'm wearing my sweatshirt tomorrow. Like, hey, that's dope. So appreciate that. Wear that, rock that merch. But definitely, you know what I mean? But what was I saying? But I think it would be dope just to get like his commentary or like his thoughts and opinion on how to build financial wealth, because he's definitely been that kind of like guiding figure in our family. Because I do believe that's a whole nother touchy subject for the black community, because I think we still have to overcome a lot of things. For example, I remember a whole pandemic, and I was in Atlanta, and everybody's in a pandemic, everybody's fighting for stimulus or getting their stimulus checks and talking about they didn't have no money. But Louis Gucci, we talked about this, Louis Gucci and everything else was all fucking packed out to the line, right? So it's just like, our spending habits and how to correct that, and how we can actually make better opportunities for ourselves instead of just waiting for the white man. And that's where I was kind of trying to get to earlier, right? Instead of just always complaining about the white man and what the white man has done and, didn't do for us, like start making these opportunities. But then once again, that's a hard thing, right? Going back to that conversation before we close up, they said, well, you have a podcast. They looked at, I have my social media stuff up there, and I'll pitch it shortly in my bio, and Clovercrest Media Group on there, right? And they're like, well, you're in business with a white guy, so how can you be pro-black? And my caveat to that was, well, guess what? The 5 people that I talked to prior to him were all black. And guess what? They weren't giving me anywhere close to what he was giving me as far as ownership, as far as pay rate, as far as how much charging, all that else, not giving me the relationship, the business, all that. It was no. I even break it down, right? So I went to 3 street dudes. Said, yo, trying to start a podcast. This need some equipment, this, that, and the third. Man, you better look. I can give you something else, and you can grind and pack. Figure out how to do it that way. Nah, I'm good. So then I go to 2 other successful black people that, I'm investing this, that, and the third. If you talk to me, whatever. One dude, I'm not gonna knock. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna knock him. He said he was tied up with some other investments, and it just wasn't the right time. And then the other dude, he had another media company, right? And he was like, "Yeah, I'll let you record, but I'm charging you 3 figures to record. I'm charging, you know what I mean, and I get ownerships and a percentage and all this other stuff." And then the guy that had the other guy that had the black guy that was starting his media company, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I want you to be a host, this, that, and the third, but we're not giving you any creative rights." You know what I'm saying? And a bunch of other things. So here comes this white guy, Joe Aguirre, who's just like, "Hey, I like what you're saying. I like what you're saying. I like what you're doing. I like what you're about. You create what you want to do and you do it and you go." I'm telling you right now, even with those other guys, and I appreciate them brothers for even saying, or even, you know what I mean, for either saying yes, no, or whatever the case, or even speaking to me. But at the same time, fuck that color shit when it comes down to certain things, right? If this guy who's white, let's say if this white guy is going to sit here and listen to me and speak to me for hours just because of what I'm saying and the things that I'm speaking about, and he cares enough to be an ally and actually let the voice be heard and sit there and say, "You know what? You have your creative rights. You do this how you want to, however you see fit, This is your show." Now, remind you guys, I'll piss you off shortly was just supposed to initially be me by myself. But because of the way Joe is, because of our chemistry together, it's a no-brainer. So I am appreciative that this white guy is giving me a fucking opportunity, especially when the black guys were trying to fucking give me the runaround, trying to kill my pockets of another black man. So once again, if pro-black is being so far extreme that I lose sight that somebody else is another human being first, then I'm good. Just like white people. If extreme white is so fucking extreme that it makes you lose sight of a regular human being, then why the fuck are you associating with them? So think about that tonight. Think about that tomorrow or whenever you listen to this episode. Remember, our number one rule, and don't be I'll piss you off shortly, is don't be an asshole. Don't be a fucking asshole. I don't care who you are, where you from, what you claim. At the end of the fucking day, we all bleed red. We all have the same bones in our fucking body. And we all have the same brain. Use it. For Rob Benjamin, Joe Aguirre, this is I'll piss you off shortly. Good night.
One day. I'm going to get it right one day. Hey, remember how many times you used to do the messages for your voicemail? It goes something like this. What's going on, everyone? Thanks for locking into another episode of I'll Piss You Off Shortly. This is the podcast where we debate everyday issues, pushing your thought process beyond what's normal. The topics discussed here are meant to be intense, promote growth, and at times may have you feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Me too, a little bit. We may not always agree, and we will more than likely have varied opinions. But with that being said, I can't promise to be your favorite podcaster. Neither do I want to. But I can promise to be transparent, fair, and open-minded. So please, if you think you've got the stamina, passion to debate, analyze, and challenge the normal, please take a number. I promise you.